Hi. Hey, what's up, Scott Balk? We're the Imagination Creation Films, and today it is Friday, November 22nd, 2024, and you know what that means, right? Yes, it means it's Friday, and all things Friday happen, and you get me. Is this not going to work on connect streaming software? I am connecting streaming software. Man, Instagram not working. Oh, wait, there it goes. Yay, technology. So it is a wonderful and fantastic Friday. Hopefully, I got all this working. We'll see. We don't know. Technology is really a challenge for us old folks. We like to read our books and pretend like we know what we're talking about. But yes, we have a phenomenal show today. We'll have a guest on here in a little bit, just to kind of chit chat and just talk about the industry and all the fun things and such. And that's all good. We also have Balk Friday. Yes, Balk Friday. Many of you may not even know what Balk Friday is, and don't be too upset if you don't know what Balk Friday is, because most people don't know what Balk Friday is. But I'll tell you what Balk Friday is. It's a play on words. Come on, it's not hard. Balkum, Balk Friday. No, it's Black Friday is, this big holiday sales event that everybody likes to celebrate on, this next Friday, a week from now. But that I have some friends over at Core, and Core decided let's do a special deal for all of you out there. And by all of you, I mean literally every single one of you can get in on this deal. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more here in just a few minutes. I want to let some more people join up and let people have some fun. Let's see what we're going to be talking about the Coca-Cola commercial. If you had not seen that AI commercial, and is soulless, I think is the correct words that everybody was using, and literally quite exactly what I expected. Viewer count comments will not be visible when streaming to a Facebook profile unless stream is set to public. Well, my stream is set to public, so don't give me no BS. Let's see here. Am I full screen? I am not full screen. Why? Hey, there I am. Now I'm magically bigger. That's kind of weird. Let's see here. What do we got going on here? We got let's see. We got Terry, and happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, everyone. Yes. We've got Jacob. Woo, let's go. Yeah, we're gonna real soon. I don't want to keep too much suspense, but happy Friday, yes. But I do want to get enough people in here. The good news is there'll be time for everything. Hey, Rob, how are you? And Jacob says pitching in baseball park, the Balk. I mean, it's funny when everybody hears my name, and quite literally 90% of the world is guilty of it, and it's no big deal. I'm so used to it by now. I introduce myself as Scott Balkum, and everybody hears Balkum. It's quite literally what happens. No matter what I do, no matter how I do it, if I go, "Hi, my name is Scott Balk," so yeah, it just happens to be. I usually explain to people, like, you don't walk to the store, you don't talk to people, you don't use a chalkboard, you use a chalkboard, a balk, a talk, all those good things. The key to that is Balk Friday. That way, it really helps drive home the correct pronunciation of my name. It's my name. I know how to spell it. I know how to pronounce it. It's no big deal. Curmudgeon, hello there. Hey, it's Carlos. Oh, Carlos, I have a feeling you'll be joining us here in a little bit. Let's see, is that working? That's working. Okay, so let's see. We've got a few people in here, and it's going to be a lot more fun. So let me talk about this deal for a moment. So Core has partnered with B&H and Film Tools, two of our absolute favorite companies on the film world because, well, they're on two different coasts. They handle they handle everyone. They crisscross. Uh, so you can order with a special deal here in just a moment. I'll let you in on it. And I sound like I'm a hawker, but I'm not. You can order these batteries from right now. Well, as soon as I tell you what it is, from like right now, plus a minute, all the way till Sunday at midnight. So you have a little bit of time to think about it. Don't worry. There's nothing to think about, really. And it will be for the Core NanoXs. And basically, what the deal is, there's a Black Friday sale that will be happening. This price, how do I phrase it? The Black Friday price will not be lower than this price. So there's really no reason not to order now, but there's a catch too as well. On Black Friday, you will only be able to order V mounts. Today, starting in just a second, through Sunday, you can do V or gold mounts. And these are, of course, these beautiful little NanoXs. I love these guys. These literally were powering all of my cameras on the Starship launch that I was videoing. It was absolutely incredible to see it all and to go through it all. So let's go through the deal, and I have to figure out how to get these links to everybody. I think I could just post them. Yes, I can. I can post them down here. All right. So let me post these links real quick to the chat. And it's going into, well, let's see if I can post it here. Will it work if I post it here? Okay, that one is a link. Okay, cool. So that's the link to B&H. Now, in fairness, this is the affiliate link for B&H. So that is the only thing I'm getting out of this deal, really, is the tiny percentage that I would get off that affiliate link. So don't feel like I'm, for everyone you order, Scott's getting $50. It's not that at all. Not at all. Now, here is the link for Film Tools. Now you're thinking to yourself, no, wait a minute. No, you said there was going to be a special price. Oh, there will be. And now here is the link to Core themselves. And that's to the 98s on Core. So here is the deal. Let me go back down to here into there so I can see everything. There's a coupon code. And that coupon code, when you type it in, will reduce these prices accordingly. And let me get the exact pricing so I don't mess up and give everybody a special deal that they're not going to honor. All right. So the Core NanoX 98s, these little pretty little guys right here that you go boop. Oh, and you can also do boop. These, when you put in the coupon code, which I haven't given you the coupon code yet, so you just got to wait. This is fun. This is like my only fun right now. These will be $199 each for the 98s. That is V mount or gold mount, your choice. That is from right now until Sunday at midnight. The 150s, boop, and then boop, you can double. These will be $275 each. Now again, gold or V-mount, 98s or 150s. You ready for the code? The code is real tough. The code is real tough. It is, I'll type it, I'll just type it in right here. There you go. The code is NanoX. All right, it should be working on all of those links. You can click on them. Let me know if it doesn't so I can quickly point at people and say, hello. But if you don't have to rush. You do have the weekend. I know that B&H, some of you like to order through B&H, and B&H is like, we're closed right now. Don't worry. They will be open, and you'll be able to get all of these deals from them. So $199 for 98s and $275 for 150s, V-mount or old mount through any of those links. So B&H, Core, and Film Tools. Now, I believe B&H will only ship to the 48 states. Film Tools will ship to the 48. They will ship to Canada, and I believe they will figure out how to get them to Alaska if you're in Alaska as well. If they cannot, then you can go to Core, and Core will figure out how to get those to you. So you have 3 places you can order those. I think it's a really cool deal. I mean, these are incredible batteries to begin with. They work like a champ, and you've got the app that you can use that'll tell you literally your cycle counts. Volt ID Bridge, I believe it's called. And you just tap your phone to it, and you get all that. This is not a big giant commercial for them, but it's kind of a fun deal to share all this. Make sure that's not popping up. So yeah, NanoX, and that will happen only when you check out. And let me know if there's any problems, and we can go from there. Let me see here. Let's see. Carlos says that worked. That's good. That's good. That's the linkies. Let's see. Make sure I didn't skip anybody. Tyrese says, I also saw McDonald's AI commercial. I have to be honest and say things are getting better. Soulless, yes, but something is happening. Yeah, something is happening, but I wouldn't panic. And I'll explain why. Honestly, the funny thing is, the part that I said was going to happen is actually going to happen faster, because in the race to get the AI out there, they're desensitizing us already. We're already hating it. So that means it may get a little bit better, but our expectations are being pulled away from us. Let me see here. I need to, put this up. Boop, does that work? I think it does. There we go. So there's comments. Okay, so back to Chris Flores here, and we'll be bringing on our guest here in just a couple minutes. Chris Flores says, when shooting conferences, I'd love to use Komodo, but file size, LOL. Any advice on how to get the smallest file size out of Komodo? I know mirrorless is easier, but I'm just curious. If you're just doing non-busy scenes, and I mean that like things are not moving a lot, then you can actually go into ELQ mode on Komodo, which will get you a substantial reduction. Now, you do need to test ELQ mode because it can cause some softness in a lot of areas. It's good for talking heads. Well, it's acceptable for talking heads. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, but I use it for those situations where I really need to push and stress without using too much data. But if you'll test that, you'll find that you can get away with it at times. And so that's what I would look at, and then just get a large card. I mean, the other thing, honestly, is bake the cost of the storage into your bids. Here we go. Jacob says there. Matthew Sessions, worth it if they come with the boop boop sound. They do come with the boop. Every time you press it, you're going to go boop. It's going to be a real thing. Rumen says, joining in on time today. Not you naming it Balk Friday. It's Balk Friday, emphasizing my name. Emphasizing my name. What does everybody think about the deal? And feel free to share this live stream, share the code, share the links. Please share my link. Please don't encapsulate your own link in there. Share them to Facebook groups and friends and all that kind of stuff. Or you could just share this live stream to, you can do that right now if you feel like it, to the various groups. And I will put that, I'll put the links in the description so that everybody can get them. That way, as many people can join in as possible. Biolabs. Well, hello there, Chris. How are you? You're mostly not VMAL. You do a lot of powder. Did you hear the core deal? Yeah, there's a special core deal right now for Balk Friday. And, as part of Balk Friday, if you know of any other Black Friday sales that are happening now, we can feel free to share that. I mean, it would be great if every year we celebrate a U.S. thing, Turkey Day, with a giant turkey the week before, giving away all the secrets. Let's see, that's streaming down properly down below. Ruben says, does it work only for? No, it works. So it works. It's B&H, Core, and Film Tools. B&H won't ship overseas. Film Tools might. But if Film Tools can't, Core can figure out how to get you the deal. So go to Core's link that I put above, and you can do that there. They will do the best they can to get you the deal as best they can. We'll see. For the most part, we'll have to see. And I see Core has joined, so hopefully they can answer the question as to overseas, if there's any opportunity overseas for the deal. We'll have to see. Carlos says, that would have saved me more than $100 last week. I hear you. But you know what you can do, Carlos? You can feel better about it by just... I mean, can you really have enough? The answer is no, because literally I brought all of my... I had 8 cameras on my Starship launch shoot, and I only had enough batteries for all of them with one spare. And so I was panicking, and I forego a lot of B-roll of crowds and stuff like that just because I didn't want to miss the actual launch itself. So, yeah. Aaron says, the question is, V-mount or gold mount? I use the KX, but also want to move to gold. Unless that sounds crazy. It doesn't sound crazy, Aaron. What you'll find is that television and Hollywood are gold mount. It is just the way it is. The rest of the world primarily is V-mount. That is, it's just the way it ends up working. There used to be a complaint about V-mounts falling off, but honestly, in the last 10 years, if you're buying a good brand of V-mount on a good brand of V-mount adapter or plate, if it comes off, it is 100% operator error. There is, I have beat the ever-living poop out of these, and they don't come off. They really, you'll break your mount off before you're likely to break the V-mount to pop off. It doesn't happen. It's operator error. So Yeah, that's the short answer of that. Uh, let's see here. Where did I miss? Um, I can confirm that Film Tools ships to UK at least. Very cool. Very cool. Film Tools said that they would try to figure out how to get it to as many people as possible. Just choose your vendor. We love them all. So, I mean, whichever makes you the happiest, you do you. You know, it's nice to have a bunch of options because it's not. It's just a giveaway, not really a gimme, so to speak. Um, I'm not getting anything, but I'll share with my people. There you go. There you go. Share with everybody, the world. Let's see here. Ruben says we have our own Balkan Friday. That's different. That's totally different. This is Balk Friday, not Black Friday. Black Friday. There we go. Let's see. Planning on buying the Blackmagic Pixis Tokina Vista Ps. What mount should I get? L and use the breakthrough adapter, or breakthrough adapter with the drop-in filter system? So does he have? I'm sure he does. I haven't verified it, but I am sure their breakthrough. Gotta watch my dog, make sure I don't hurt him there. I'm sure the Cinema DFM probably comes in L mount. That's the Cinema DFM right here. I like the Cinema DFM. I would for sure get PL on the Vistas, and then I mean, at that point, you could get the PL mount on the Pixis, or you could get the L mount and use the drop-in. The only thing I would verify, and I don't think it's going to be a problem on the Vistapes, is if they will clear the drop-in. And I'm pretty sure they would, because I don't believe they stick out at all. Usually that stick out is for compact. Let me take an opportunity here to bring in a guest host, so to speak, a friend of the channel, a friend in the world, and someone who has his own channel, and someone who you all know and enjoy, but Carlos is a Carlos out there somewhere. Let's see if we can look through Carlos. Oh, I see him. There's Carlos.
How you doing, Scott?
Hi. Hey, Carlos. It's Carlos Quintero, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's a blast. I've been wanting to have people on more and more, and sometimes I like to have big names of DPs, and other times I like to have people that are similar, peers, like I mean, you're above me in a lot of ways, but in just in the community, just to have conversations and chit chat and all that fun stuff.
I'll just say this: every time that you had Jared on, it was like, shit. How cool is it that we all get to experience a live stream where Jared's gonna jump on and then just like brain dump on all of us? That was awesome.
It's for sure it is, and it was. It's sad we don't quite have it anymore. He said he wants to come back on one more time and just kind of chit chat with the world, but he's busy. He's loving life right now. He's kind of stress free right now. It's a nice change.
And he freaking earned it, right? Like he earned it.
He did. They busted their bullet for a long time to get where they got. So yeah, more power to them. Life aspirations for sure. Let's see.
That core deal is phenomenal, Scott.
Like it's awesome. Comment. Yeah, you just get
I should have waited.
It's. I mean, you can always use more. I think I'm gonna probably pick up a couple more 150s because I truly love the 150s. They're the hardest to travel with, but wow, they work. It works so well, especially on like V Raptor and big power draws.
I was scared to travel with the 150s. I know they say you can, and that you really do can, but I always thought, because every time that I travel with camera gear, they make me pull everything out and then they swab 30-40% of the gear. And it's annoying because, I stress out about packing. And they just like, oh yeah, this is coming out, that's coming out, that's coming out. And it's like watching the Muppet Show. Um, but the last couple of times that I've traveled with 150s, it's like peace of mind when you're actually working because you have that extra juice. And it was no different than traveling with the 98s.
Yeah, I have when I switched to really the minis and then now the nanos, uh, formerly Blue Shape, as I used to use their smaller ones. They never ever looked at the batteries to see them. On the big ones, like the original full size V mounts, they would always kind of look at them and have their ideas. But now, I mean, this is half the size of the full size ones before, of the same power or less. And so they don't. I mean, I guess they're just concerned with energy density. Uh, I have never had any of these even looked at. It is the funniest things of what they do swab. Uh, this last time when I flew up to Alaska, they were most interested in my zoom lens, and I don't know why. I had the 70 to 200 in there, and I mean, they had to get it, they had to pull it out, they had to swab the whole thing. And then there was what was the other thing? There was one other part, another part. Oh, it was the camera. It was the Z8. The Z8 they were concerned with, and I don't know why. The batteries, I had every battery on the planet with me, and they didn't care. They they weren't even looking at them.
I always get a little nervous that they're going to take my little red multi tool.
Oh
So I
yeah,
always have it in my camera bag. And they have never, to this day, knock on wood, they've never even cared that that was in the bag.
there's nothing sharp in it, and the tools are actually short enough that even like puncturing is not really deadly. So I don't think they care. I mean, I don't think they care hardly at all anyway. Um, yeah, it's a thing. Let's see what we got some questions here. PL is just invest in high quality 4x5 matte box. I care mostly about the quality of the image and the narrative work. I mean, the chances are. Let me see if I can pronounce the name. Baracho. Oh, there we go. Uh, if you're running the Vistas, you should be running a matte box. There's no question. If you're running a matte box, why not just do drop in 4x5s? I mean, it is going to be built that way. It's certainly the Vistas are not a run and gun lens. It's not a very compact and lightweight lens. So doing it all proper, I don't see an issue with that. You got a
I have
thought on
something
that?
to add, Scott. Can I add something?
Of
Because
course.
this was one of those lessons that I learned very slowly. um, and you know what that generally means, you spend more money, right? Um,
Yep.
but back in the day when I finally moved to cinema cameras, the very first cinema camera that I bought after the E&G type cameras that I was working with was the Canon C300, the original C300. So
Yep.
right away
The
I bought
workhorse.
the um, the compact zooms in EF mount. I bought a set of Canon CNEs in compact mount. As time progressed, when I stepped into the Red ecosystem, because they had a Canon mount, I bought a second set of Canon CNEs, and so on. Fast forward to now, I never, back then, by the way, PL glass was not widely available and expensive. like way more
Yeah.
expensive than everything I
There was
just
no
said.
entry level.
No,
Rokinon was the EP. That was the only one that
right.
was PL affordable. Yep.
Today, if I was in that situation, there is zero chance that I would not buy PL, given how what the selection is of PL glass, the different price points of PL glass, and then how much you can transfer that glass to any other system you might be working with. So, do I still use matte boxes? Yes. Do I still use 4x5 filters? Yes. Am I now only buying PL glass? Yes. And should I have probably started doing that faster? Yeah, really, I should have.
Yeah, I was on the EF train for a long time because I figured that everybody would just continue to make EF glass. That if you could make PL, then you're probably going to make an EF and all of that. I did not anticipate that when everybody went to mirrorless, that EF would just disappear. And that's what happened. And I chose poorly, as the way I say it is everything that I bought EF for because it would work across the board, PL would have worked across the board as well. And I should have done that. And so now I'm paying that price slowly.
Yeah, when, like I have my Raptor, and
It's pretty.
these lenses are really nice. And at the price point, they're hard to beat. And I'm a big, 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 big fan of Tokina Vistas.
Yeah, they are well. They're the I don't know if, how would I phrase them? One of the best kept secrets in so many
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
They're not
Like
quite
for
a
all of us
secret,
that
but
are never going to own a set of Arri Master Primes, you don't need them if you have the Tokinas.
they get you so close and so competent. I mean, you don't. You really don't hear about people going out and buying a set of Arri Master Primes and modifying them. It doesn't happen. Uh, you, the Master Primes are like a single look, whereas the Vistas, people are finding all kinds of looks out of the same glass, and that was an interesting secret of Takina is that they made glass for so many other brands that people just didn't realize that they were the glass behind the glass, which was always fun.
It's one of those questions that I always, like, I try to gain more knowledge from Phil every chance I get. And I just keep asking more and more questions because, I mean, like he's full of knowledge. And he's shot with everything that I've never shot with. So it's really a good way to like absorb knowledge quickly from someone with a bunch of experience, which is of course one of the reasons why I love your channel. So
Let's see. Here's a question here about what's your opinion on the Atlas Mercury and the focus area of it. I'm not sure what you mean by the focus area, but the Atlas Mercuries, I really like them. They're an interesting balance, and I say balance because they're a full frame lens, and they're anamorphic. And what I've found is when you do Super 35 and you do a 2x anamorphic, you get a specific look that a lot of people desire and love. When you do a 1.5 on Super 35, it looks it's less. It's not quite as distorted and funky and all the features that come out. When you take a 2x and put it on a full frame, the distortions are crazy. And so going with a 1.5x anamorphic on a full frame, it brings it back into that kind of desirable look. And that's my opinion. Uh, the Mercury are a little pricey, but all of their glass is good price. It's not cheap, but it's also not Panavision either. So it's the affordable quality glass in there, and it's got its quirks and its looks, but I kind of dig the Mercuries. What do you think of them?
So I have mixed feelings, and this might be a hot take, but
Sure. Yeah, that's why we have
I
them.
think that they are. I like the look of them, if you're willing on always center framing your content,
Gotcha.
and by that I mean if you're even slightly off to the right or left of center frame, things begin to get really interesting in a not pleasing way for me and what I'm expecting, which then forces me to think in a different way. And likely because I don't shoot anamorphic every single project, so
Right.
that really sends my head into this gymnastic state on every single shot. So if I'm willing on doing, like if I was only working on say social media content, I think they rock. But if I'm doing something that is more commercial based and obviously narrative, then all of a sudden I need to understand the feeling of that glass way better than I do now because I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid right now.
I mean, that's fair. It's a true statement with literally any anamorphic glass except for like the 1.3s and the 1.2s that are out there, the little small ones. When you distort, where that distortion occurs really does matter. And I I'm assuming that's what HBP is talking about, the focus area, that the Mercuries have a very small center of sharpness, and then everything else goes crazy. And in that case, that is somewhat true with almost all anamorphics, in that you get crazy as you get further out because you are stretching things. I'm gonna have me some wine here in a minute too. When you're stretching things, the more you stretch it, kind of like the what's the really inexpensive popular ones right now? The names just
Blazar,
escape me. Blizzard.
Blazar probably.
Yeah, those 2x, those distort like crazy because they don't have a second set of elements in there that correct what they call mumping. And mumping is this no, ice machine. I was like, what does that sound? This kind of funhouse mirror effect that occurs uh, on the glass, and it happens in such a way that, like on the frame here, it happens here, but not here.
Hmm.
It's a lot of anamorphics will take this little curve out, and they don't do it on the Blazars, and it's a love hate. So some people love it, some people hate it. I'm not a huge fan of mumping myself. However, I feel like those lenses are crazy fun enough that there is projects for that. There is a use for that won't look bad.
Well, and I'll say this about the Blazars, like the 1.5 Blazars. I don't remember what the different model numbers are.
Right.
I bought a set of those for no reason other than to get out, understand, and begin to sort of make myself really familiar with what that lens language is, given that that's something I haven't done in my career. And what I find is, like you said, I don't mind the distortion in full frame at 1.5. But when I saw that they released those 2.0s and they sent me over a set so I can, look them over, of course, because they wanted me to buy some, I put them on my camera on V Raptor, and I was like, these are not for me. Like immediately, I was like, these are not for me because they are like screaming at me, and my brain doesn't know how to make sense of this.
They absolutely do scream. And they scream at the edges and with that
Hmm.
mumping. What I find interesting on them, and I'm going to be getting a set at some point here. I don't have time to do them right now, but I think when you put them on Super 35, I think that mumping will actually get to the edges, and it'll actually feel rather normal at that point.
Yeah, and I don't know
That's
why, but and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you could help me here with this because I feel like the sweet spot for the anamorphics, at least that I've shot at this point, in that between 30 and 35 millimeter focal length, it feels like that's where I'm getting all of the sweetness of the anamorphic look and feel.
I my focal lengths, and it's funny, they don't change too much, whether it's anamorphic or spherical. Uh, 40 and 65 are my absolute favorites in there. 28, 32, 40, 65. Those are my focal lengths. On anamorphic, 40 is to me just absolutely gorgeous because it's 20 on the width, but 40 on the height, which it's a win-win. But that being said, the Proteus, I forget which focal length I had of the Proteus from Laowa. What's it? Was it 35? I think I had. Uh, that was a wide lens that I didn't mind at all. And I normally don't like to go really wide on anamorphic. Like 40 is like as wide as I want to go because it just feels like the 20 mil kind of feels a little too much. But I was kind of impressed with that one. And so now I want to play with even more anamorphics and find out, was it just the ones I was using that I didn't care for the wide, or what have you? I,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think my
it
favorite
depends.
lens of all time that I've used that was a wide lens was a Tokina Vista Prime. The way that
The
somehow they
18,
able to correct, yeah, the way
the
they're able to
18 is
correct
pretty
for that,
phenomenal.
it's like, how are you making this look this good?
The the 14 millimeter from Nisi Athena is pretty good. Uh, the one thing I didn't like about it was you can't really put any ND on it. It's almost impossible because it's so wide
Bulbous
that
and
it just,
bulbous, right?
yeah, I mean it almost wants to go around behind you and look behind you.
Hmm.
It's so wide on the full frame. Uh, but their 18, which I haven't tested yet, looks very promising for that. it's it's a good opportunity to just kind of bring up just that Balk Friday deal. Just, just seems like one of those things I want to give as much as I can. Like I'd really give it. They gave it to me to give to you guys basically, but there's links up above, and I'll put them in the description later for Film Tools B&H and then Core. And the deal is on Bulk Friday, NanoX's. If you use coupon code NanoX at checkout, it's all caps, I believe. Uh, the 98s are 199 and the 150s are 275, and you can get them in V mount or gold mount. And I don't think I'm supposed to say what the Black Friday price is, but I can tell you it will not be cheaper than this deal. But I can tell you on Black Friday, you cannot order the gold mount. So if you're a gold mount user, this weekend is your chance to pick these up. And you get from now until Sunday at midnight. I just want to just do that every little once in a while.
Well, and I'll say this, for someone who bought 4 of the Core X batteries within the last 7 days, and I got them at not whatever the retail is, at whatever the special
Yeah,
price was
like
supposed to be, it still would save me an average of $27 with your code
right.
per battery.
It's and I believe, yeah. Well, I think I was about to say something I probably wasn't supposed to say. So I always have to do that in my head. It's like, wait a minute. Let's see here. King, you look jolly. It must be the Black Friday deal. No, it's the Bulk Friday deals, King. It's all about the Bulk Friday.
Well, BF is Bulk Friday.
Yes, that's. But he said because
Oh,
today is Bulk Friday.
yeah, got it.
Breakthrough has L mount for the DFM. Okay, so that is an option to do. I just you there is positives and negatives to where you put any filtration because it changes the look. You putting it in front, putting it in the back, it will have a different look to it. It's not always the worst. I don't mind either way, but it's just one of those things to consider. Almost everybody, well, if you're on a Hollywood production, you're putting filtration in front. That's just typically the way it is.
Okay, I have a question for you, Scott, regarding filtration.
Go for it.
And I like to ask this of every person that operates a camera or has in the past. Anytime you change your ND, do you then redo your white balance? Do you reset your white balance? Do you shoot a gray card every time you switch it?
So it would depend on the ND. The NDs that I use, I don't have to do that because they are so close in, there's like almost no perceivable shift in color. The two that I like are the Firecrest IRNDs and the breakthroughs. The breakthroughs are oddly little known. They do sell 4x5s of their filters, and they are phenomenal. And it's funny because you look at them and they look like they color shift because they have massive coatings on there, but they don't. They are amazing, and I dearly love them. There's you can see that coating there, and then on the back side it's there. But that's a 7-stop, 6-stop. What is that? 6-stop, yeah. I have a full set of 8, and I do love the breakthroughs. There's no color shift at all that I can perceive on those. The Firecrest are the same. There was I'm trying to think of the name. Phil recommends. There's another one that came out that doesn't have any color shift either, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. If anybody happens to remember down there.
Yeah, I've been using the Firecrest myself for, well, actually since Phil recommended them. Once he posted it on Red User, that those were his go-to, I was like, yep, that's going to be for me.
Those were my first. They really were. And I liked the Taquinas, but what I found is there's a slight green tint to those, and I don't like green. It's not my favorite color, and so I was kind of like not really liking those as much. And it's one of those like I showed to a friend. I was like, drop my Firecrest in there, and now look at yours, and tell me you don't see it. And yeah, he immediately sold his and bought some Firecrest at the time.
And I guess the new version of the Firecrest are actually thinner than the original ones. So I had the original ones, which were a little bit thicker. The newer ones are slightly thinner, I guess. I don't know if there's any difference or not.
Is that the 2mm versus the 4mm?
I think so.
Because, yeah, what I found was they have photography filters and they have cinema filters. Theoretically, they're the same, but the thickness of the glass is the difference. So cinema filters are typically 4mm, and then the photography glass is 2mm. I don't know if cinema people are more clumsy and they drop them more, and thus you need to have thicker filters. I don't know why, but that's just been the standard. So it's possible that that's what you were getting there. I mean, they function the same. But Acho, so far I haven't found an EF to L adapter with a drop-in filter. So Ruben, he was thinking about making one breakthrough, but literally what I was talking about earlier, everything just fell off the face of the earth when it came to EF mount. People just stopped making lenses. And I mean, honestly, if you want some great lenses out there, go to eBay and find the EF glass. I could not believe how cheap that stuff was going for. The Canon 70-200 2.8 Mark II, which is quite literally one of the sharpest, best lens on the planet. That thing is going for way less than half the price. That bothers me.
So speaking of used lenses, Scott. So here's something that's been like I'm toying with this idea. So and I'm sure you know because we talked about it. I bought the 24 to 105 f
Yes.
2.8 giant
Yes.
lens that I cannot use on my red cameras because the distortion on it just doesn't really work for me, and they're really made for Canon in-body correction, whatever. But the original, even the Mark II, I guess, version of the 24 to 105 EF L version 2
The
IS and macro
the F4 one.
F4, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
with the speed booster becomes a 2.8.
Well, that's a good point.
And
But with a speed booster, it would only be a 2.8 on Super 35. You, I don't think it would cover a speed boosted
yeah, no,
V-Raptor.
you're right. It would be more like for my Komodo X. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
my
That
Komodo
would
X
get
or
you
my
that.
C70.
And I had that same lens too. And what I really loved about it, it was quite sharp, but it had macro. Which you could do 105 millimeters at like 9 inches. It was kind of cool.
So I'm really thinking that I need to pick one of those up for Komodo X because it's
You know,
image stabilized and
yes,
it doesn't distort like crazy like the new 24 to 105.
yeah. I mean, the negative to it was only that it was F4, which is
Yeah.
not that big of a negative. I mean, it's a little bit in that if I was shooting at T4 all the time, I would not want a lens that bottoms out at T4. I would want a lens that bottoms out T28 or T29. That way, the T4 is going to be beautiful. Usually, they try to squeeze as much as they can out of it, and as you get closer and closer, it kind of goes weird and wonky. I shoot a lot at T4. I like T4, T 4.5, just in that area because I like that way that looks. A lot of people are going super shallow, so whoever, whatever they
But like
want.
when you're doing your wildlife stuff, is that all at T4 or
No,
5.6?
that's at 5.6. I'm
Five
almost
six.
always at 5.6. Yeah,
Yeah, that looks beautiful. So
the only time I will go shallower is if I'm shooting a little wider. But I mean, typically with wildlife, I'm not going to be that close.
yeah,
I use the 100 to 500 RF a lot, and I think I shoot that at T8 or F8 because at 500 it looks phenomenal.
yeah. I feel like if I was shooting at 500, I'd want to be at F8 to make sure I'm in focus.
I mean,
I
I got to tell you, it was pretty hard keeping the Starship in focus too. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, it's I'm actually going to be working on setting up my Kessler stuff to track rockets now because it's way too much fun. Now that I'm experienced to it, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I'm going to have to fly down for every rocket launch or something. That was an experience of a lifetime that now I want to have it over and over and over again. And you can't. I mean, you're at 400 millimeters. Every little shake is going to show up, and it's windy. I'm on my O'Connor head and sticks. They're stout, but it's windy, and you're trying to track, and like you can't look away for a second. You can't even go over and try to adjust your ND because you need to be tracking or you'll lose it because you can't reacquire it at 400 millimeters. It's going to be hard to find that dot in the sky.
Were you at Super 35 or full frame?
Super 35. So I had,
So you're at
Yeah, I
600
had-
millimeters.
yes, effective, yeah. And I was going to I wanted the 100 to 500 on the V-Raptor Super 35 so that I could get all the way to 1,000 with the 2X. The problem was I needed to be about 300 for the launch, but that 100 to 500 would you can't get closer than 300. So
Mm.
300 times 2 is 600. That would have been way too close for, well, for comfort. But let's see. So we've got some questions. I want to get through all these comments here. Yes, this is what I mean. Get the lenses of the PL and personally recommend. Okay, yep. Carlos, nice. Oh yeah, did you see the one that Carlos is a big name? It's true. I wasn't trying to fluff you up or fluff you down there. I was just I would get the drop-ins. It's really convenient when the job needs mat box and rent. It's kind of a how you operate decision, really. It won't hurt to have both, to be honest. This is true too. You could drop it clear, and have both. I hate when they start handling the gear and some won't allow me to do it instead. Well, so that is Hollywood. That's how things work. You have a first AC. You're not touching the camera. That's their job.
Union,
Oh yeah.
right? Three bodies to every camera.
Yep. Yep. Exactly right. First AC, second AC, and a utility in there. Just doing all the things. Let's see. I might start with a drop-in filter, get 4x5. Just worry about 4x5 and drop-in filters. Yeah, it's not gonna affect. I don't think it'll affect quality like sharpness, but what you'll get is you're introducing glass behind the glass, which will affect reflections some. It's going to be pretty small. Let's see here, but you don't need to use them at the same time. I'm not aware it will affect the image. It would. When you put them in the front, you get reflections that bounce off the primary element, and the NDs themselves. When you put it in the back, you're now affecting that image between the sensor and the lens. And just for people, just to understand, there is lens correction happening on every drop-in filter. And what I mean by that is if you take a clear filter, a perfectly flat clear filter, and you put it in between your lens and the sensor, you will not hit infinity focus, because that glass, no matter what, even though it's perfectly straight, is changing that light in such a way that you can't get it. So every clear drop in that you just, so you don't have anything, you're modifying that image. You can't pull it out either. If you pull out, I mean, any of you with a drop-in filter, pull out your filter and watch it go blurry. It's a wild thing. Scott and Carlos, do you think Sony will ever add internal NDs to their alpha cameras, or do you reckon they're intentionally avoiding to protect their cinema line? I have my opinion. Go for it, Carlos.
So I think the reason why Sony doesn't do that readily is because they put so much other tech in their bodies to gain market share. I think that Sony finally has reached a point where they feel like they have their base in place to where they can then begin to innovate. I don't think that they're going to do, 2, 4, and 6 and 10 and 12 stops, day one. But I do think that just like they did on their AX100, I don't remember what that camcorder was. It was like basically a one-stage ND filter. It's either on or off, but it gave you 3 stops of ND. I think that that's probably going to be where they start. And then based on user feedback, they probably will do more of what they did with the FX6, which is their electronic variable ND. What do you think, Scott?
And what my thought is the typical Sony cameras that you're talking about are what we would call a hybrid camera. They are a stills and video camera. The stills do not have the requirements of ND as often as cinema. And that is because you can use shutter speed to compensate. Now, there are still times when you want to use ND on your stills camera because you might want motion blur, you might want that kind of stuff. But in a hybrid camera, they're thinking about they're thinking about the photo world as well as video world, and not just one or the other. And in their cinema line, it's strictly for their for cinema. That's kind of my thoughts as why they're doing it.
I also think that the Sony stills shooter, right? So the photos guys, they really, Sony does a very good job at catering to people who shoot in their studios with strobes. They run circles around Canon cameras, when it comes to flash sync speed and stuff like that. So I think that's such a great point that you brought up, Scott, about how on the still side, they got those people covered really, really well, and then super serving that group in a lot of ways that other people aren't. And on the motion side, I mean, if you need NDs, buy an FX6.
Yeah, I mean that's literally it. If you look at the FX30, the FX3, they are, well, the FX30 doesn't really have a counterpart in the stills world. There are slightly catered video of a hybrid camera. They're still the same guts as an A7S III. They're just slightly altered towards video, but not enough that you can't take a photo with it. You can still take photos with it. So you can't take a photo with a Burano. Or I don't think you can with an FX6, although I think you could time lapse with it technically. But you're crossing lines, and as you cross lines, you just can't put everything in there. It just doesn't make sense because it starts to conflict with each other.
I have a time lapse question for you, Scott. Do you use NDs for some of your long exposures in time lapse?
For which long exposures? I use NDs in daytime for long exposures. Okay. Otherwise, it would be completely blown out.
Sure.
For astrophotography, not at all. No, it would be pretty rare. For what I put when I'm doing like landscapes and I want the clouds passing by, I'll put a 13 stop filter in the front, and I will do so I can get I try to keep that 180 degree rule going, not 180 degree shutter rule in play. So if I'm doing a 5-second interval on time lapse, then I want my shutter speed to be around 2.5 seconds. And it'll vary in there. Sometimes I go between 1 and 3 seconds to get it in there, but that's what I'm doing. But it's an aesthetic choice. You might want it to be really, really busy. You might want staccato motion in there. But you also might want it to the point where there's nobody showing up, which you could do. You could take a 13 stop and a 8 stop and stack them, or you're getting like a 30-second exposure, and then you're doing your intervals at that point you can do your intervals like between 40 seconds and 1 minute. By doing that, the person that walks here in 1 minute, they're over here, they're never actually captured. So the only thing that ever shows up in your image is like the buildings or the architecture that's there, and you have nothing showing up for people, which is it's a great technique to do to get rid of people.
So the recent, obviously I'm being super selfish here.
Of course.
The reason for my question is that we had a shot that we are actually still working on, where we're doing sort of a hero image for a brand, and in their building we have the whole executive team sort of like as superheroes in front of their building.
Uh-huh.
And as the clouds are passing quickly.
Uh-huh.
So we, of course, shot the time lapse of the building, and now we need to get the actual talent in front of the building to get the shots to fill in themselves, which is why I asked.
that is a shot I've done many times, and I've done it with motion control as well, which is why, like on a Kessler system, the repeatability is super important, and that is I could do, let's say, yeah, you're standing in front of a building and you're all the attorneys at law. They're standing in
Right.
front of the building, and they're all three standing there, and in the background things are just going by really fast. But maybe I just kind of want to do a little parallax move as I do that. So I can film the building without the people. And I film that with a longer shutter. So I'm dragging that shutter so I get that motion blur of anybody that comes by. And I'm now moving the camera at a interval of how fast I wanted to move it originally. So if the shot is 10 seconds and it moves from here to here in real time, depending on how that motion blur is, I might have this motion blur or the camera movement go over 5 minutes while it's capturing that whole thing. Then what I do, I've got my background. I pop up a blue screen right in the same spot, and I put the people right in front of it so they're lit exactly the same. And then I shoot it in real time at the 10-second move. And then you can now stack those two images right on top of each other, and you get that same parallax, but you have a motion blur in the background, and you have normal real time inside.
Cool.
That's a common shot for like nursing or for hospitals, showing I do my job, but there's a million things happening behind me, and everybody's just cruising 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, the client's United Healthcare, so it's
Oddly
about
enough,
the
it's
insurance. Yeah,
I know the shot well. I mean, there's so much that calls to it. When you're thinking about anything where your job is to work with a bunch of people and there's just one or two of you, that's when that hero kind of shot works, because you get to show the hundreds of people. Like if you're setting up a concert and there's the sound guy, and the sound guy is doing his thing, in the background there's crowds coming in, and you just got the sound guy doing his thing. I mean, that's one guy showing, doing work for everybody. Good evening, Dirk. How are you, sir?
you should
Let's see
remind
here.
everybody about the Core NanoX because that's such a good
Oh,
deal.
that is a
I'm gonna end
good
up buying
point.
some
Did
more.
y'all know? So Balk Friday. This is why I have you on. Balk Friday. This is Core NanoX 98s and 150s. Use the coupon code. The coupon code is NanoX. I know it's really hard. You can buy at B&H. There's a link above, and I'll pop it here in a minute. You can buy at Film Tools, and you can buy directly from Core. It is active from now until Sunday at midnight. This 98 is $199, and the 150s are $275. And here's the points. Black Friday's deal will not be cheaper, just so you know. But also, you can order these on Balk Friday, Gold Mount or V Mount. On Black Friday, Gold Mount will not be available. So, there you go. Let me drop those links in again here because I care.
Do you still use Gold Mount, Scott, or no?
I don't use Gold Mount at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I used it at ABC. We just didn't have a choice. But I use it when pretty much any Hollywood set that we're on. But myself, I'm a V mount guy. I have never ever had a problem with V mounts. Okay, here's the three links. The B&H link is an affiliate link. The others are not. I don't believe they are. They might be. Who knows? I'm not getting everyone you buy, I get $25. It's not that. It's same thing if you bought any affiliate link on the B&H. B&H is closed right now, but they will open up on Sunday after evening. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it's like 7:00 on Saturday. You can order them then. B&H will ship to the 48 states. Film Tools will ship most places. And if they can't, then Core might be able to take care of you themselves. so that's the deal. NanoX. It's streaming there at the bottom, just right down there. You see it.
It's also worth noting, Scott, that when somebody uses the affiliate link, they don't pay extra
That's correct. It's true.
at all.
You're getting the same price regardless, and all
Yes.
you're doing is just showing B&H, hey, we got this information from Scott, and you're helping out the channel in a very small way, but it's all that matters. Now we'll say this: disable your ad blockers because for whatever reason, all of these affiliate don't work with ad blockers. Fun. Anyone tried the new Komodo 1.8 firmware yet? I didn't
I haven't.
because I was doing a shoot. I didn't want to have any risk at all. I was very comfortable with my Komodo, but I'll probably be popping those on here next week.
That's actually another really really great point, because I remember even Jared, back in the day, saying to me, like, if you're in the middle of a project, just wait to update your firmware,
Yeah,
just so you could get through your project, and then not that there's risk or whatever, but like you're already working, just finish what you're
right.
doing.
Unless you absolutely have to have something that firmware did, and you can accept that risk. I mean, you can always go back, but I mean, yeah, it's just not worth it. But it's also cool to be on the cutting edge sometimes. Thankful and pleased that Red actually made new firmware for Komodo OG after a year. Yeah, I was a little impressed with that myself. He says, I'm switching almost everything to PL as well. We'll only keep autofocus lenses and photography. Yeah, that makes the perfect sense of that. Let's see here. Guys, how would you compare Arls with the Takina Vistas? I would not put them on the same playing field at all. My opinion is Vistas are like 97, 98% of Master Primes. I mean, they're pretty spectacular in and of themselves. And knowing, if you go back, Rumen, go find the conversation with Ryan Avery that I had with him 2 years ago, I guess, where he is an optics just genius, and he talks about filtration a lot, but I don't think he talks specifically about Takina on purpose, but he talks about lenses in particular in depth. And he explains everything that goes on, and the type of glass and where you get it, from what part of a country, from what region that glass will affect how the optics work. And there are, you hear about shot glass. Shot glass is what a shot 53, I believe, is what a lot of filters like to use because it is a very clean glass. Glass tends to be green unless it's a water white type of glass, and they work really, really hard to get all of that stuff, so to speak. Oh, hey, Phil. Hello, how are you, buddy? I know nothing, says Phil. Phil, that's not true. You know everything.
Yeah, if anybody has questions about glass, this is the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have questions about any glass, Phil knows, and we will have Phil on again. He's resting right now because he was just busted his rear end working for months. But we will have him on again soon, just for all fun things, Phil. But if you have a question about glass, Phil not only has the answer, but he probably has the glass too. There's a glass from 1973 that people talk about. Yeah, he goes, yes, it's this one. This one.
I always found it super interesting when it's like, Phil is like, I'm making my own lenses off of things that I've collected over the years. And I'm thinking, dude, I don't even know what that would look like. I don't even know where I would start.
I absolutely dearly love Phil Holland as a person in the community, a filmmaker, a creative, an engineer, a sensor tech engineer, a friend, and a peer. I say peer because we're both filmmakers, so that puts me in the same class. But he has always been willing to help educate and point people on the right path. And I do truly love that about Phil. Plus, he gives a whole lot back to the community in so many ways. It's nice. It's very nice.
Same. Yeah, totally. Okay, so I was really, I saw this one video on YouTube, I don't even know how many years ago at this point, where they were talking about the cook look. And I know that
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's also very, I guess it could be polarizing in some ways because not every cook lens has the cook look. And I'm on board on that train. I know that they don't all look that way. But it was very interesting to me to see that when they make a set of cook lenses, those lenses are matched, but they might not be matched to the next set. And that
It's
was
true.
wild to me because it's like, oh, so it's still the same lens, it's the same series of lenses, the same whatever, but it may have different characteristics because of the way that they polish the glass, and in some cases hand polish some of the elements. That like blew my mind. I guess I had never thought of the manufacturing process in that way.
Well, it is it's really at that level where when the glass is basically handmade, you get master craftsman feelings in there. You get their skill set to help match them. And if you go back and you look at like Panavision lenses, there's directors that are like, I will only shoot with this set of Panavision. I will only shoot with this one, or I want this set and this set, but not this set and this set, because they have these specific little quirks that they love or hate or what have you. And it exists in pretty much all the handcrafted lensing. Yeah, cooks are definitely there. The whole 3D pop thing really kind of threw me, and Phil kind of gave me a micro course on 3D pop, and one day we'll have him on to talk about it in depth. But there's a lot that goes into 3D pop, more than I thought, which was pretty interesting. What does it say here? The Blazar Rebus 1.5s are too soft. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad lens, quoting Mark Toya. There's ways to use everything and it be useful.
Okay, so my hot take is that that's true depending on what sensor you put it on. Because, on V-Raptor, cheap glass shows all its flaws. And it's not just some of the flaws, but all of them. On our Canon C70, that same lens hides a lot of its flaws.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said in there as well. Like you take V-Raptor versus Venice 2. Venice 2 has basically 1K more of resolution, but the way that sensor is designed, it's sharper. So you take the two 8Ks, you would think they would be pretty close to sharpness, but they're not. The photo sites, the size of those, the spacing, all of this will affect how sharp it is. The Venice 2 is a very, very sharp sensor. Some say it's too sharp at times. That sharp lens or that sharp sensor is going to find all kinds of flaws in soft glass or vice versa, but also you can take soft glass on an 8.7K sensor and tame it down a little bit and get it more. Because like sharp is not filmic. Filmic being, what is cinematography? What is, that kind of feeling. Sharp is not necessarily it. Sharp is video-ish almost, but not really, because video is not really 8K, so to speak. So it's you gotta. I mean, it's why they say right tool for the job. There's not one camera that works for everything. There really isn't. I own Reds specifically because of the way that I shoot. They work well for all of that, but they don't work in every situation. We've used all kinds of cameras because they work better than the Reds for that particular thing. Same thing with lenses.
Phil's got a couple comments, Scott, that you probably should pop up because they're
All right, let me go down there. I need to
high
I'm gonna
value.
mark. Okay, let me mark down. So we're on Rumen's pauses. All right, here's the fills. Here's the fill. Here we go. Golden Age Labs Epic NDs. Breakthrough X4s are real good too. There we go. That's what his I know nothing. Firecrest are the OG of rare earth coatings coming to a full yes, and the Firecrest was that was my first real set of NDs, and I mean, let me tell you, it hurt when I bought them because when you're coming from a C100 and you just bought your red and you like made a massive jump, and everything hurts at that point. It's like, oh, $450 a filter. Okay, well. And then lots of decent options now, though at a variety of prices. Fair enough, fair enough. Any other fills down there? Because we always like to get our fills in. We like to get our fill on. the oh, there's some more fill down here. Okay. Takeda Cinema Vistas are a very good option if deciding between them and Airy Signature Primes. Somewhat similar as well, Supremes, yes, and the Sigma Cine Primes are a good comparison. Yeah, and I've talked a lot about Sigmas versus the Vistas, and the Vistas have a little bit more character. They're slightly more flary. They're slightly more. They're almost as sharp as Sigmas. Sigmas are just straight sharp, super sharp, and that's a great look for some things.
I like the depth of the Tokinas versus the Sigmas, personally. What do you think? Am I
Yeah,
crazy?
yeah, no, you're not crazy. Everyone's got their own look. No, I mean, I was going to buy for the longest time. I was going to buy the Sigmas because they. I like the arts a lot, and I have that like the 18 to 35 and the 50 to 100, and I love them because I know that I can get a super sharp image out of it, and I can dumb it down with a little bit of filtration. But then, literally, the floodgates opened up, and I would have bought the Vistas, but the Vistas being way more expensive than the Sigmas, and then the Sigmas being way more than I really had money for at any given moment, was kind of the killer of the whole deal. What do you think of the DZO Pavos? I played with them only at shows, and I have not played with them in real life, so I don't have a full opinion on them. But I thought they looked pretty good. They're big. They look pretty good in the trade shows. These
What do you think
DZO
about the
Pavos.
contrast on those Pavos? The contrast.
I don't believe I had an opinion of them because on a trade show floor, there's not a lot
Oh,
of
sure.
contrast out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think are better of the low cost options. Yeah, Curtis, you shot with those, didn't you, Curtis? I think you did. For peeps in Europe, I will match the NanoX deal Scott is running. Thanks, Dirk. There you go. What is the link to? You can't post a link, or let's see, it won't let you. Message me, Dirk, the link, and I will post it. Take those dogs. Good Lord. No, I'm fine right now. I'm fine right now. Rex is like, I'm not going. He's like, it's not time. No, he's fine. He didn't want. Oh, now he does. You teased him, and so he took it. Dirk, very
Rex
cool,
is
very
like,
cool.
Rex is like, why am I not on camera today? That's what Rex is saying.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you why. Because I have all my cameras are all lined up over here from the
rocket
Starship shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to go through all of that too here a little bit too. Let's see if I can get Dirk. Oh, there was my message right there. Dirk, poop. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Copy. And now let me go over here and see if it'll go all the way over. Come on. Come on, you can do it. I have to do it twice. Copy. And come on, get it over here. All right, fine. I'll just put it on my notes, and then I'll do it. So there you go, folks. You can have a matching price there. And let me post that link. So if you're international and you're looking for that NanoX deal and it updates, here is your link to Dirk. And Dirk has been a longtime supporter of the channel, and I appreciate that. So, boop. There you go. I don't know what method you need to do for Dirk's to order from them. Maybe he can set up a coupon code and have it done, or maybe just email him. One way or another, there you go. Just not in USD. You have Euro, of course. Fair enough. Let's see. How does it affect the image if you put a filter on the back? Oh, I just explained that one. Yeah, I've already got through that. Okay, there's the Phil comments. And then we've got, how do the Arls compare to the Taquita Vistas? Yeah, they're two different worlds. So you get extra points if you order from Dirk and you sing the Kessler roll song. Extra. I don't know if it's any additional discount, but it's extra points.
It should be the NanoX song that you.
Actually, yeah, it needs to be the NanoX.
Yeah.
SWX. That's all my voice, by the way, in there. That whole song, that was not AI, that was all me. I was having fun with that. I was like, oh, I can get a little beat going on. And I went into the vocoder and I was like, cool. I have not played with the Arls that much. And I was supposed to get a set to play. I have not pushed anybody to send me stuff because I'm backlogged on reviews and I'm trying to limit the amount of reviews I do now. NanoX. Let's see. King, I recently saw a YouTube video comparing the Zeiss Cook and DZR Arls. Interesting. And Josh says, Kippertai is making an EF to L mount of their... Oh, that's a cool one. That would be... I mean, Kippertai makes some really good stuff. That would be something to look at. Cogmission says, hi, Scott Balk. Hi, Cogmission. When you move it to Alaska? So right after we sell the house. We're really close to listing it. I mean, if you could see this place, right now it's a mess because literally I had to unpack all the things I packed up. I mean, it was funny because I was like, well, I'm not planning on having any shoots before we list the house. So I packed up all my tripods except for one. And then, okay, I'm going to take 8 cameras to, Boca Chica. And, I need them all. So I unpacked them all so that I was a pile of tripods again. I can't win. Let's see here. Fergal says, shout out Phil Holland. His Scarlet and Epic cheat sheets were absolutely godsend back in the day. If you haven't already, give the guy a follow. Yeah, for sure. He was okay with the material. When I saw his airbrush painting on Dragon, I was completely sold. The way the skin looked, it was incredible.
That actually was the exact video that made me switch to Red.
Phil did so much.
When that happened, when Phil published that, I was like, what am I doing? Like that's where I want to end up.
You're exactly right. I saw that and I thought, my God, this is it. This is how it's done. Why don't they make drop-in filters that has no glass in them? Because the distance between the sensor and the element in the adapter has to be designed with the glass in there. It's a weird one. But any of you that have a drop-in filter, take out your clear and just watch what happens to your image. It's rather funny. Every piece of glass, whether it's perfectly straight or not, causes a change in the diffraction of the image. Uh, Question: award ceremony, rectangular room, 3 cameras, 2 lights, 300x, 120D, speaker podium, and one at one end of the restaurant dining tables. How would you arrange? I'm a noob, first client gig. You want to start on that, Carlos?
3 cameras, 2 lights, and 2 lights is your option. So I would actually pre-light where the award is going to be received. I'd pre-light the podium, and I would pre-light my wide to make sure that I got my exposure correct on each of the different camera shots. And I would literally, once I got my exposure right on the key moments that I needed to get, I would allow my darks or the stuff
Dark
that's
side.
going to be off exposed to just fall wherever it's going to fall, because that's not the important part.
I would not be centered at all. I would choose, for instance, the back right corner for the camera shooting into the speaker. I would key light from the opposite corner as close in as I can get without it being too distracting, so that you get at least a softer image on there. Put a pop hair light, the 120 in the back, opposite corner, so that basically, let's see if I can. So, speaker is the watch. You got a hair light coming here. You've got a key light coming here, and then I am shooting from this corner, going up this way. That way, any of my shots, whether I'm wide or telephoto, I'm not looking through a light, and I'm always getting some kind of a look on there. That's that is a very small lighting package for that type of situation. So do understand that's going to be a wild one, but that's how I would do it.
Yeah, and hopefully the speaker or the people on stage are not like me and are bald in that scenario.
Or me. Jack says hearing open speakers and an echo. That's Carlos, I believe. It's all his fault. He's listening on his speakers. He doesn't have earrings.
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, then where's it coming from? That's weird. Let me mute you and let's see if it follows. Now we can talk about Carlos. Oh, it is him. It is him. All right, there we go. Oh, unmute request has been sent to Scott. Oh, okay. Are we muting me? Oh, wait, what are we doing? Are you back? Wait, are you? Unmute request has been sent to Scott. What? Unmute yourself. Can you? How do I? What?
Am I
There you
unmuted?
are. There you are. That's weird. Apparently, if I mute you, you have to unmute you, or if I mute you, you have to unmute yourself. Interesting. Well, it's
So
all
there's-
Carlos's fault.
there's
So you can blame
echo?
him. It's his head.
Really?
His head is reflecting the sound. That's why we wear hats, so we can reflect the sound as much.
I just didn't want to blind anyone. It's like, I shave my head every day, you know. That's actually a thing. It's
I
such
can't do it.
a pain in the ass, extra 5 minutes every day.
I mean, when I shaved it the first time, I always wondered what it was going to be like. I only shaved it one time. And I got so cold, and it was the middle of summer in Texas, and my head was so cold. I'm like, this is so weird. And then when I got like an eighth of an inch of hair, it was all the difference. And it was warm again. I was like, this is weird. I can't do this. Plus, I looked like a moron. There's a picture floating around. The guy who has this artwork right here. It's funny. I had a friend come visit, picking up some things that I was giving away, and he comes in. He goes, "Can I have that?" And I said, "Well, I mean, wasn't planning on it." And he goes, "Yeah, I know. That was like the one thing you said you liked that you kept. No one can have it." And I said, "You know what? You've been a good friend. I'll let you have it." I said, "But you have to put some post-it notes up there, and the post-it notes they read, "I got this," and it's his signature, and then he had me sign the back of the artwork. So my artwork. Oh wait, missed that one. Phil Holland is a community guardian angel. Yes, yes. These conversations serve the community. Just talking, very cool. Yeah, and this is what I want to do more of. When I was having so many problems with my uploads or my live streams, it was just it was uncomfortable for me to invite somebody on and embarrass them. It's not fair. So I want to do this more, and I want to kind of get back to every week having somebody else on just to chit chat, just for fun, funsies. I'd love to see some of that Ireland stuff you shot, Carlos. Ooh, I'm not sure if it was business or personal, but I'm sure it was cool.
It's mostly work, but yeah. Yeah, actually, I think they've started publishing it already. Maybe I should ask for permission to share it.
You should. And if you do, talk about that stuff. People love that stuff. Why would you use a blue screen instead of a green screen? If your client is wearing green. So Cog, is it really boils down to one simple thing. That particular, I don't say particular shade because it could literally be a bunch. That amount of shade of blue and that amount of shade of that particular shade or tint, hue of green, do not appear on skin. And so that's why you do one or the other. If your people come in and they're all dressed in blue, well, you need to use a green screen. Otherwise, they're going to disappear. Like so many of us have had so much fun with all those blue screens over the years.
I do think, though, Scott, and maybe it's just, maybe I'm a little biased, given that I'm more mocha toned.
Mocha, yeah.
But at least on my skin tones, the green is absorbed a lot more into my skin than the blue.
Interesting.
And I don't know, and maybe it's my monitor, but
no,
it seems
I
to
can
me
see
like
that could be a thing because, yeah, that makes sense because olive skin is a color. What is it? Middle Eastern, I think, has they call it like an olive skin. That would be some green, but I don't see it. My eyes, because my eyes are green colorblind, but that's why I don't like green. But that does make sense. I mean, and you just got to try. You got to figure it out, and which one is which. Yeah. Frail syntax. Do we have a multi-part? Yes, we do. In relation to Carlos's comment, I understand that using a speed booster would make your full frames T4 lens a 2.8 on your Super 35, but it does so only in terms of the amount of light unit of area that reaches the sensor. However, using the speed booster doesn't change the optic look of the full frame lens. It stays at T4, looks out at the field. I don't believe that's actually correct, Frail syntax.
that is not correct.
Phil, could you weigh in on that? I'm pretty sure you are changing it to optically a T28, or the effect of T28 optically. The old T4
Or
zoom
very,
would be
very close to it.
Right. Yeah, because it's not an exact, like a 0.71 versus a 0.68. It depends on which amount of speed boosting you're doing. But also, in fairness, though, to what Frail Syntax is saying, you are adding elements behind the lens. So you are affecting the way that lens actually behaves anyway. Per square inch. Is this the case? Carlos caught Phil. Yeah, I think Phil needs to weigh in. And we've got 2 votes for yes, it does. And we'll see what Phil says. There's the links. There's the links. Did y'all hear about the core deal? NanoX is the coupon code. Share it with everybody. Share it to the world. Just post the links or post this live stream. Just share it to the world and let people know. NanoX is the code. It works all the way to Sunday, and then it stops working at that point. So you're on your own, kid. That was a Blazing Saddles. Ryan Avery from Revar City. Yes, that is correct. Cognition. Hey, look at those NanoXs. Wow, these NanoXs are cool. If you Cognition, if you want to have a little fun, what is Revar backwards? R. Avery. To keep us, oh yeah, we got that one. King says, I recently tested Taquita Vistas and have to admit I like the image I get from them more than my previous favorite Supreme Primes. What I'm debating now is what Vista Primes to get. Yes. Oh, hey, Glenn and friends. Hey, good to see you, Glenn. Phil helps so much. Big love for all he's helped me over the years. I completely agree with you. Completely. And Glenn is one of those people I want to have on. I've talked to him many times about doing it. We keep saying yes, and I keep not following through badly. We all love Phil. It's the Phil show. Definitely going to compare and contrast Supremes, Taquitas, and Signatures. Ooh, interesting. Josh says, why would one choose Taquita Vista over Sigma City Primes? Both very similar. They're for what your project needs. If you want, the way I always described it, and Carlos, you can jump in here if you want, is if I'm going to shoot a hospital, if I'm going to shoot manufacturing, if I'm going to shoot industrial, architecture, I probably want the sharpest image I can get to accentuate the sharpness and focus of medical or manufacturing and such. An industrial type look. Sharpness to me is industrial, whereas the softer the lids, the more artsy it is, the more you're going to feel that in emotion. So if I'm choosing a love scene where the guy and the girl, they first meet, they get some spaghetti and they eat it, and then they discover, oh gosh, there's garlic in your breath, it's horrible. But in that scene, a Taquita Vista would be better than a Sigma, in my opinion, because the Vistas have a little more character, they're a little softer on how they fall off. They flare a little bit differently, so I'd probably put a little light in there just to get a little flare, get that contrast pop down a little bit. There's a little more character in it. Your thoughts?
I totally agree. I feel like Taquitas, if there's going to be a skin tone in the shot, then Taquita's a better option. The Sigmas, like when I work on, I work with a couple of jewelry manufacturing people that, they sell diamonds, both labbed and mined, and they make their own jewelry or whatever. The Sigmas are perfect for that, right? Because they're basically selling the expense of the craftsmanship of that unique style or the intricacies of how they did that thing. The Sigmas are perfect. If that jewelry is going to be on a model, their ear, their neck, their hands, or whatever, then Taquitas are the better tool.
Very fair. I'm going to drop down here to get a Phil point. Phil says, a fun way to think about the flawless performance is the relationship to the pixel size, pixel count, and magnification of the lens itself. High-res, small pixel pitch will show the most flaws. He also said, cognition, yep, the low-pass filter softens to help, that's from a previous thing that we haven't got to yet, Golby. Okay, he was saying something on the, down here. Nope. We're getting to the other. I'm going to have to go blast through these here real quick. He was saying something on the speed booster. This is like the first time that I don't keep up with comments is when I start having conversations with other people. Let's see here. We'll do a lightning round. Okay, a focus reducer speed booster is effectively shrinking the image circle, causing the light gathering to increase, typically about one stop from full frame to Super 35, but you also gain distortion and flare from the speed booster. That didn't actually answer the question, though. Does it give you, if you took a T4 lens and put the speed booster on it, giving you the 2.8, would it have the same bokeh as an identical designed? Phil's going to go, well, you can't have that, but identically designed T2.8 lens without a speed booster would be the way I would question it. So we'll get that answer for it. Let's zoom back up here. Let's blast through these because I like to get to everybody. Where was I at? Okay. Yep. I like the image. Glenn. Yep. Phil helps us. Big love. Big love. Ryan Avery custom made a 4x4 indie plate for me. Very nice guy. He is awesome. He really is awesome, and he loves to give back. He's the Phil Holland of filtration. Let's put it that way. Please teach us what 3D pop. Oh, that's a whole Phil live stream right there, because I have to learn it too. Also, Reds have an OLPF, which slightly softens. That is correct. Most will have an OLPF of some kind. It's usually like Reds are now basically put on the sensor itself, essentially glued down permanently, whereas other camera manufacturers, they have the same thing, it's just on their sensors. The DSMC 1 and 2 had removables. What do you guys think of Fuji's attempt at making a filmmaking camera? Ooh. You got a hot take on that one?
I do. So the idea in my head is different than what Fuji is doing. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so we're talking about large format motion acquisition.
Medium-ish
something
format.
that that potentially could mean it's affordable to someone like me. That's exciting as hell. And then when they do the interview and they're basically saying, oh yeah, it's basically the same as a mirrorless camera, except it's shaped differently, but the image processing, the color's the same, the codecs are yet to be determined, all of a sudden it's like the fantasy that was happening in my head smashed into the concrete at 150 miles an hour into reality, and it became something very different.
My hot take on it is I was kind of uninspired by it, just because I didn't know what they were going to be doing with it. But then I found out that a friend was involved in the creation of that camera, and I like my friend, and my friend is pretty artsy fartsy. So I kind of feel a little bit better, like it's going to have a good place to go with it. So I'm excited to see what it does.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting if they're able to give us more than what Fuji is giving us now with their, GFX line of cameras.
Well, and the GFX can only shoot what, 4K?
Right.
Yeah, for video. So I believe the new one is supposed to do all the sensor.
Oh,
That's what
that
I
changes
believe.
things.
It does
But
change
then-
a few things.
What are they going to do for lenses? Are they going to let us use their glass?
So they have some of their glass, but it's also medium format. So we should be able to find and adapt some Mamiyas perhaps to it, or any medium format glass. And honestly, it could open the door to finally getting some medium format glass. Red talked about making one a long time ago. They really wanted to make a larger format sensor. The biggest holdback was there was no real market desire, and B, there was no lensing really to help support it. So it was a tough one. Did someone?
Okay, so I have a follow-up question then to this, Scott, and maybe you can sort of fill me in. So I'm thinking some of the stuff that I work on, right? So whether it be things that end up being projected on a movie theater before the movie starts type of thing, or broadcast television or like TV programming stuff. That's kind of the space that I spend a lot of my time in. They still today can't handle an 8K workflow.
Oh no, not at all. Now Japan can. Japan is like all 8K everything now, which is wild. Japan once again just way out there, way ahead of all of us in America who are just barely doing anything. Sorry, I'm just looking down the list here. Let me see. Okay, we did that one. Okay, Glenn says, I worked with a DP years ago, car guy. When he came to town, he would only shoot with the mismatched broken set of lenses that WFW kept inside for location and tech scouts, cracked elements, etc. Interesting. Low pass filter softens, yep. Helps to mitigate moire and aliasing, yep. Goal being to not look like video camera, correct. And, it's interesting visually what happens with the low pass and filters on there, but it's also it's frequency. It's weird. It's kind of a fun thing. Cog says, Philip, gotcha. Thanks. Bracho says, how to determine which indie stops you need first with indie. Every video I've seen says they start with 0.62 stops. Yeah. What's your basic set there, Carlos?
So I have everything from 1 stop to 14 stops. And in the studio, I'm usually at 3.5 to 4 stops. Outside, I'm probably closer to 6 to 7.
Right. My basic set that I started with was a 2-stop, 4-stop, 6-stop, which is a 0.6, 1.2, and a 1.8. The other thing you could consider is a 0.3, which is a 1-stop, then a 2-stop, and a 4-stop. And the reason being is you can stack them. So if you need 3 stops, take the 2-stop and the 1-stop, stack them together, and you get 3. What I found was, in most cases, the amount of stretch that we could do, for instance, if I needed 3 stops and I was at 2 stops, then I could go ahead and split 5 and 5/6, T5 T5/6, and be okay. It's as long as I'm not trying to match directly the same exact shot, with the same depth of field and the same exact environment minus the light, you're not really going to notice that difference. And so by doing the 2, 4, and 6 stops, it really helped. And then you could take your 6-stop and your 4-stop, and you got a 10-stop.
Yeah, and the reason why I ended up buying all of the extra filters for me was I wanted all 5 cameras in the multi-cam studio to be at f2. And the different focal lengths, it forced me into these in-between stops if I didn't want to change my f-stop or my shutter angle.
That is true as well. Another fun thing is if you have multiple cameras and you have a full set of like 8 stops, 1 through 8, you can use combinations of filters on each to get there to match the look, and you're going to be using the same filter. So you don't have to have 2 full sets. You could use a little bit of combos. Ruben says, I've heard of taquinas before, but never bothered to look at them because of the price. I hate you both now for telling me about them and adding another reason for my wife to divorce me. You know what? Let your wife go see them first. Tell her, I would like your opinion on these. And don't tell her the price, because she won't even go. That's the way my wife does it. If I hand my wife, okay, I've got the Rokin on, I've got the taquinas, and I've got the Panavision set they're going to sell me for the first time in life. She's going to look at them and go, I really like the Rokinons. That's because you know the price. That's not the way it works.
So what I do is I'm like, hey, Bert, I need you to stand in for me. And then I'll shoot her. And then I'm like, I need you to help me decide which of these should I go with.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to do it. That's
and then
pretty
all of a sudden
smart.
It's like it's a no-brainer. That's you
Oh,
should do
would
that
you
one.
take the math out of it and she has to? Yeah, that's smart. All right, folks, that's how you do it, Ruben. Go take your wife to a cinema rental house and just let her just film with every different lens and then let her choose which one she likes best. Oh, that's brilliant. And it's like, honey, you chose the Vista Primes. You thought they looked the best. I agree with you. Good Starter said it's 2 to 6 stops. Yep, exactly. Perfect. Excellent. King says, Scott, what is the PL glass you currently own and operate? Carlos, same question. Irix is my PL that I own and operate. What do you have?
The Arliss and the Scott, you sent me the link and I bought them.
The
What are they?
Nieces? The Nieces
Yeah,
Athenas?
Nieces,
Yeah.
Athenas.
Which ones do you like? What do you think of each?
So for people, I like the Arliss, and for products, I like the Athenas.
Interesting. I like that. I'm gonna have to get the Arls in here. They say Arls. I say Arls.
Arls. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, if you're gonna spell it Arls, just take the E off. Why? Okay. I thought you were selling the house to buy a Raptor X. No, I'm selling the house to buy property and build a house in Alaska. Depending on the price of the house, depends on whether or not I get a Raptor X, because it's in what I call stage 2 of the purchasing. We have just a little in depth of Scott's super nerd brain. We have small, medium, and large plans for Alaska. That is based upon the price of the house. That if we get what we think it's worth, then that kind of thing. Stage 2, or there are 3 stages within each of the small, medium, and large. Stage 2 is in there for acquiring some other fun things that we want to do. Ideally, I think we're going to be in the medium. I think is where our house is going to sell for. We were just looking yesterday at that comps in the area. If we get the large, we probably don't want to buy. We don't want to build the larger house. We actually like the medium, so that just means more stuff for me to get to buy.
Is there a time frame, Scott, where like you could actually do the build and have to stop the construction because of the weather in Alaska?
So, yeah, there's a time frame that you just flat out can't do anything more. The goal right now would be for us to be there, living in a temporary Airbnb, or it looks like we have a friend that has a place that will rent to us, for the thaw. When the thaw comes, we immediately go out as fast as we can and find the property, buy it cash, just be done with it, and then immediately start construction. We are a little inside baseball. We are quite good at construction. The wife and I built everything on this property. We built our house, we built the shop, we built the studio, we built the edit, we built the theater. We built all of this ourselves. And it took us 6 months to build the house where we could live in it. It took us a month and a half to build the studio. So we've gotten so much better and more efficient at it. Plus, you get to acquire all those tools. We had a nail gun and all that, but like just lifting walls with 2 people, that's not easy. But now we have these things called wall jacks, and they're amazing. You literally buy 2 2x4s that are sacrificial, and you attach these devices to the wall that's laying down and built, and these 2x4s, and you crank them up like a bumper jack would on a Jeep or something. So it lifts the wall up, and we're not in any danger, and we're not breaking our backs. So, I mean, we build the whole wall on the floor. We just jack that sucker up, and we're done. So it gets built really fast. Once it's dried in on the outside, then we can work on the inside through winter. So I believe we'll have about 3 months of outdoor build time, because when we buy a place and we close on it, we get a driveway, that kind of stuff. That's going to take a month at least. So there, you get like 4 to 5 months maximum of do things time in Alaska. So we should have our home dried in by the first snowfalls, and then at that point we can be inside and we're fine. Mr.
Cool.
Sutton, hello. How are you out there in the world of mutiny with your new swag? I saw. Phil Holland, thank you. Dirk says, "What up, Michael?" Cognition says, "Scoot." Yes, I've been called Scoot so many times. What Phil Holland video are you talking about? Search term. Oh, which one? Remind me. There's the dragon. So look up Phil Holland dragon, and then just sort by oldest, and you'll find it. He's airbrushing this pretty model on, I think, an apartment, like in an apartment. But I mean, it is gorgeous, just flat out gorgeous. Rumen says, "Oh, I have a question about a job I have soon. A panel, 1 speaker, 3 guests, 3 cameras. One must be on the speaker. How would you deal with the other 2 cameras and lighting?" You have a thought on that?
I would say the camera that's on the speaker is obviously going to be panning between whoever's speaking. Then I would do a wide, and then I would do the third one would actually be just like a roaming camera where whatever needs to be shot, somebody's actively operating to make sure they get that shot, so whoever's doing the switching can switch when appropriate.
That is pretty close to what I would do. I would say you're going to want to light the room as best you can, keep the lighting out of the way of the cameras. And then the cameras, I would have a master wide. That master wide, I would probably put somewhat close to the center, or slightly off. And then I would put the roving camera next to it. And then off to the side a little bit, I would have a B cam. That one I would have punched in really tight, right up against the face, just for a quick, if you need to edit, you can get a little bit of that speaker and have a locked off shot. Then one person can run the roving camera, and whenever you're changing shots, you could be on the B camera or you could hit over to the master wide. That's how I would do it. And then I would just do it. I wouldn't do it one here, one here, one here. Whoops. I wouldn't do it like that. I would do it one center, one here, and one here. So that way you're kind of following that 180-degree rule.
So is he operating,
yeah.
just one person's operating 3 cameras
Let's see here.
in his scenario?
Yeah, he didn't say. That's
Oh,
if
that
I
would
was
be
just
tough.
one person, that's the way I would do it. That way,
Yeah,
you have motion on one. And what you could do also is that far shot or the telephoto B shot. If you put it on a slider and you have it just doing a slight movement, then it gives you a sense that there's another person operating. That shot, if I was doing telephoto, I would make sure to skim across the heads of the crowd. That way you get the slight little parallax move. If you're putting it on the wide, just get the wide high enough so that you can actually get the sense of the crowd moving.
And I would also go with whatever the widest shot is with my highest resolution camera.
Reasonable. And I would wide that only the edges of the crowd. In other words, we always shoot in V's because the way lenses work. So never make it look like there's an empty seat. Never make it look like there's empty space. Shoot so that you fill the farthest seat on one end of the shot and the other seat there. That way you always have a beautiful filled room. Many people claim that 3D pop basically depends on lens aperture lighting. It also depends on the camera sensor. Continued. Oh, we got to find this second part. There we go. Too much detail. 3D pop continued. I, for example, consider Blackmagic Pixis as a special 3D pop qualities. Was there more? No, and then Venice 2. Yeah, so there's a lot to it, and what I thought I knew about it, I was corrected by Phil, which is why we need to devote an entire. Hey, Brandon, I see you out there on Instagram. How you doing, Mister First AC? I would. Oops. I would defer to Phil on that, just because he's so smart on that stuff. Okay, that was got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Got a. Bracho, is the Storm 1200X aperture as a main light overkill? I have zero gear and would start buying. It's only overkill if it's a budget buster. It is a very competent light, very, very nice as a key light, and it will do a whole lot. And it will dim down very low, so it's not going to be overkill unless it kills your budget. I would probably, though, look at what can I get the 600 range that fits and have multiple light options. Thoughts, Carlos? No.
I feel like for me, I've been able to. Well, I was thinking like, and I'm, you know, I'm one of those people where, for many years, I just kept buying more and more gear, and now I'm thinking, how do I simplify my kits? If I was starting over, I would buy a 1200X, simply because I can tone it down as much as I need to and still accomplish what I need to. With what you said about budget, though, many of us, before the 1200X existed, have been able to make 300s and 600s work just fine. So, you know, are you not going to be able to work if you don't have a 1200X? The answer is no. But it's better to have more than you need to have headroom than not enough to where you need to supplement with more fixtures.
It is absolutely surprising what you can do when you have limited resources. You make things happen. You really do. I mean, a 600X becomes the biggest, brightest sun through a window possible when that's what you have. It's nice to be able to throw a 1200 or a 2400 in there, or it's nice to throw a couple of 20Ks out there on a.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice to be able to do that, but is that in your budget? You know, if I had the choice of one 1200X and nothing else, or other stuff, I would divert those funds to other stuff. I'd pick up probably a 600X. I'd pick up they just released their 80C. I think it were.
80C. Yep.
So I'd pick up a color light in there. The Blair engine is really cool, and it does basically what the best of the Pro Light lights did, and that is a really beautiful light. I hope to review one of those lights at some point in the future. Maybe own one, but it's kind of not in the right place or time for me to do it right now, so it may not be relevant. But the X is very cool.
It's also worth noting that, you know, if we go back maybe 5, 6, 7 years, the need for more powerful lights was way more important, because the sensitivity of the sensors, the larger sensors, the better glass, or glass that opens up a lot more than, you know, what we had available then, makes so that we don't need as much, and I say we as in the stuff that I shoot. We don't need the 20Ks. I don't need 4 20Ks to make the projects that I shoot work.
I mean, if you have an FX3, then you immediately have 4 more stops of low light capability, which means you need 4 stops less of light if that's what it demands, and it won't hurt you. In the FX3's case, the FX6, same thing. So you know, it's stuff to consider. You don't always have to shoot based on an amount of light. well, you don't have to shoot based on what you say you need for light. You need to shoot based upon what you have and make it work, because we don't have unlimited budgets. As much as I've tried, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, if we were all shooting on Alexa Minis, which I'm sure you've shot on Alexa Minis, Scott, if you veer away from the native ISO or ASA on the Alexa Mini, you need a light package, or you're going to struggle, and you're not going to be happy with yourself as you're working through the project.
Yep.
We on V Raptor, I could be on candlelight and I don't have the noise issues.
The V-Raptor is a pretty special camera out there. It truly is. It's the first cinema camera that shoots more than 4K, that just blows low light out of the water. And I really, really wanted to do a review of that camera assessment series from HBO that I got to see when I was at Cinegear. But I could not find any stills from it. I couldn't get anything to show what I was talking about. It was hard to explain if you don't see it. But basically, what was so eye-opening was they had all these great cameras, and they had some really good cameras. They had Alexa 35, they had the V-Raptor, not the X, but just the V-Raptor. They had Venice 2, they had film, they had the 12K original Blackmagic camera, then they had the Mini. And they were shooting this scene at night where it was a motorboat with some lights on the motorboat. It was the full moon, and they were leaving the dock and a bunch of people in the motorboat. And when you saw the Alexa, you're like, oh, that's a pretty good shot. That's a pretty good shot. When you saw the film, the actual emulsion, it was almost pitch black, with exception of you could see the lights. You couldn't see the people. You didn't know what was happening. And everybody busted out laughing. I mean, you could hear the whole crowd just laugh that, oh God, that was, okay, well, we're way beyond film at this point. And then the V-Raptor comes on, and it was gasps. It was, oh my God, that was so incredibly beyond what people were used to that, I mean, everybody left there. Anybody who was objective left there with the feeling that V-Raptor is not a joke. It's real. Yeah. The echo dispersed now. Oh, Carlos fixed it. Oh, what is that? Is that a Core NanoX? NanoX. It's the same voice. Did y'all know about the Balk Friday? That's right, Balk Friday is today. That is a special deal with Core. And I don't get anything from Core. Don't read anything to it. I have to put that disclaimer out there, because there are people like, yeah, you're making $50 for every... No, I'm not. I'm really not. If you choose to use a B&H affiliate link, I will make whatever percentage that little amount is. But here's the deal. On Black Friday, they will have the NanoXs on sale for Black Friday. Today, they are on sale for Balk Friday. The price will not be lower on Black Friday than today. But on top of that, you can have V-mount or gold mount on Balk Friday for the 98s or the 150 NanoXs. They will not be having the gold mounts on Black Friday for that sale. The coupon code is NanoX. You don't have to do it 10 times, just NanoX. You can order from B&H. There's a link there. You can order from Film Tools. There's a link down below. You can order from Core, or Dirk over here has said, if you're in Europe and you wish to purchase from his company, he will match the price, not in US dollars, but in the appropriate dollars. He'll match the deal over there. So excellent opportunity for you to pick up some incredible batteries. Oh, the price? Oh yeah, $199 for the 98s, $275 for the 150s. Highly recommend the 150s. They're incredible. Unless you're flying a lot, then you have to be careful. But incredible deal. Please, now's the time to stock up on your V mounts. Really, honestly, it really is. I hope we sell like thousands of them. And so Core's sitting back going, we're cool.
Well, I feel like if you end up promoting this enough to where you end up selling enough for Core, then maybe Core will be willing on doing this more often for us. Because I think you're right. Like the more I sit here and think about this, right? Like at this point, I think I'm at about 12 of these. These are the 150s, and I have 4 of the 98 watt hours. And then the rest of them are the big giant brick ones, the original ones that I've owned. At this point, the only time I ever use the big giant brick ones are if I'm powering lights with batteries. Because for my cameras, this makes way more sense.
They're
easier,
tiny,
and they last longer, and they charge faster. That's the thing. Yeah.
Does yours boop? Mine boops. Does yours boop? Boop.
Only when you boop it.
Boop. See? Oh, you didn't press it. Oh, there it is. Boop. It's a little delayed. Internet delay. Yeah, so please, if you're looking for V-mount or gold mount, especially because you won't have that option later, please feel free to use any of those links that I posted there. B&H will ship 48. Film Tools will ship, I think, almost anywhere. And then Dirk's company will ship Europe. And then Core can help you out however you need to. Christopher, hello. Question. I shoot surf video, currently running format high crests. Yeah, indies, yes. In a matte box, D780 raw to Atomos, yeah. Shooting into the sun video, I'm looking at another PL filter, rectangular. Do I slot it before or after NDs? That is a good question. So I don't recall right offhand if you're doing a polarizer filter. I believe the polarizer filter goes in front of the ND, if I'm not mistaken. Phil would probably be the right.
That's what I was taught, Scott. So the polarizer always needs to be the last filter in the stack, like closest to the talent.
Right.
That's what I was taught.
And that is for a variety of reasons, but I believe it comes down to if you do the math on what's happening with the light. Each one of those is affected differently by what it's given. So if you give it something different, it does something different. And so the PL or the polarizer needs all the light so that it can properly block the angles. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question there, Christopher. I always know because you literally put it in front and you're like, oh, that looks great. You put it behind, you're like, oh, no, that's not work.
Yeah, and in motion you'll see artifacts too. So it's
yeah.
Like after you do that one shot, you're like, oh shit, who stacked the filters?
Panacho, I just realized I was a creep and watched all of Phil Holland's videos but did not subscribe. Because you have the drip to make a good show. Let's see here. Very literal mind. I cannot read between the lines what drip means. Thanks for the blue green. Wow, I'm way behind, aren't I? Let me blast through here. My apologies. I personally haven't seen Carlos before. Can you share his channel? I would love to follow. Yes, I can. Let me grab his link. And man, this is what a pain in the butt to look up this stuff. YouTube, Carlos Quintero. Carlos Quintero. He comes up when you type Carlos Q. Oh, well, that's a convenient little. Here's Carlos's channel. Right here. And Carlos has been a really good member of the community and very helpful. He does live streams, he does reviews, he does talks about techniques, and he comes from a slightly different business side. He's not shooting Hollywood features. He's doing a lot more corporate type work, but you know, the guy makes money. He's got a thriving business. He kind of knows what he's talking about. And just getting a little bit of understanding from each people that we meet is good stuff.
Yeah, I actually
Let's see.
thought about that a few weeks ago, Scott, where I was like, could I ever call myself an artist? And the answer really is no, I couldn't. Um, do I understand that
Well, no,
filmmaking is
no.
technical and so on? Yes, but like,
Well, let
I,
me
I
ask you
don't know
this.
if it's just the way I'm wired, but the only thing I really am good at is, and this is going to sound really shitty, but the only thing I'm really, really good at is making money.
Well, that's a horrible thing to learn. I mean, geez, wow. I mean, if only more of us could do that. I would counter that and say maybe you're not thinking clearly, but did I hear you say earlier that you have a set of Nisi Athenas, and you
Hmm.
also have a set of Arls, and you had one other set, right? What was the? Or,
Oh, I have two sets of the Canon CNEs.
yeah, see, and did I not hear you when you said that the Nisis were a little more sharp and a little more? I don't think you used their surgical, but you used industrial, I
Yep.
think, and then you said the other. Is that not an artistic choice?
Yeah.
Did you
But I
make an
mean, I
artistic
should have a lot
choice?
of
Does that
heartless
make you
stuff
an
though, right?
artist? It kind of makes you an artist. That was a long way to say I disagree that you're an artist.
Okay. Yeah, I am picky about what I do, I guess.
Well,
I'll say that.
I mean, we make decisions based upon what looks good to us. We are the creatives, whether we consider ourselves or not. We are making the product. We're making our brain's interpretation of what we see with our eyes, and we're making those decisions, which makes us artists. What kind of effects do different pigments have on green screen? Would it make certain hues invisible, thus causing more magenta image, or what is the opposite of skin pigment? So all you're doing, Cog, is when you are doing a chroma key, you're literally just choosing a value of of a hue, and then you're telling it how far are you allowed to stray from that color, and then you're removing it. That's all you're doing. And so if I don't have green in my skin color, and if I have green behind me, and I say take out this much green, but don't go any further, then my skin stays. My shirt, which is blue, stays. Everything else disappears. That's all you're doing is you're just removing a small section. Now, there was a really cool video by Corridor Digital. They So there's blue screen, there's green screen, and the problems that we have with those is that if you shoot through, uh, like if you're wearing lace, anything like that, where it can get green, it's very difficult to key that out because you're going to get green through the lace, and it can't pull out what is green and what is not. Same thing with like motion blur. When you move your hand like this and you get that blurring that's happening, when you do that, that green is going to be mixed in between your finger that's about that wide, and you don't get a clean key. However, back when they shot a little film called Mary Poppins, there we go, they had humans dancing with cartoons, which they did with a chroma key type key. What they found was there is a specific light. It's a type of sodium vapor light that only emits one frequency. It doesn't broadcast out. So it's only one frequency. And then they had a filter that would hit just that one frequency. So they could blast with this one light and take it out. And it would go through mesh, it would go through everything. It was incredible that they discovered this because these filters don't really exist. There was only like 2 or 3 sets, and no one knows where they are. But go watch that on a Corridor Digital. It's a great way for them to explain how chroma key actually works and why the artifacts exist, and how Disney back in the 60s or whatever figured out a way around it, or maybe it was before that.
I think it's also worth, because you started talking about green screen, Scott, and I feel like, there's a whole bunch of information on YouTube, and a lot of what we see is based on people's lived experience. I think it's worth noting that when you're working with visual effects, so VFX, and green screen, oftentimes to avoid the whole motion blur thing, they crank up the shutter, and then
Yes.
in the composite, they add the motion blur back to make sure that there is none of that spill that happens. And I feel like
That is
on
correct.
YouTube anyway, that gets either overlooked, missed, or somebody just didn't realize that they should mention that, because everybody wants to be shooting at, 24 frames per second or whatever. But if you're actually doing visual effects, that's not always the right frame rate to shoot at.
Yeah, you're correct, because you don't want motion blur if you're on green screen, because like I say, when you use this, if you look at your finger, you'll have a finger, and you'll have a little bit of a finger this way, a little bit of a finger this way, blurred. Well, guess what? When you have a little bit, that just means that your finger was here, and then half the time it was not, which means you're going to have green through it. Now all of a sudden your finger's green, and you don't get a good clean key, and you can see it. So yeah, you definitely don't shoot green screen at 180 degree shutter. You really don't want to, because you'll have to rotoscope every little thing. You would shoot it at like 45 degree shutter. Let's see here. Carlos speaks from the heart, very much an individual, even though he and I have butted heads. Well, it's okay to butt heads, as long as you can have if you can have a discussion where you don't hold it against somebody just because they have an opinion. Who cares?
And at the
I
end
I
of the
say
day,
this.
that really is it. It's all opinions. It's not, nothing is set in stone.
I've said it many, many times on here, because it's amazing how people will polarize one thing over a million. If you make a salad and you don't like tomatoes, but you like everything else that's in that salad, don't hold the salad responsible. Don't hold the salad against, oh, I don't like salads because there's tomatoes in it. Just don't put tomatoes in it. Don't talk about tomatoes. If it's the one thing, everything else you can agree on, then just don't talk about tomatoes. It's not hard to be a civilization. Does anyone know what causes large image circle of a lens with all these insane small lenses that cover full frame? Just curious. What causes a large? Well, it's basically you are moving every element, whether it's a concave or converse. I don't know which way that's going to show up on camera. You're changing a light ray down to a light ray, or down to a different angle, to a different angle, to a different angle, and a different angle, and you're correcting that as you go. The image circle is simply, when I take everything, I'm making it come to this point, or I'm making it come to this point or this point. Typically, a larger image circle requires all these other elements to be larger to begin with, unless you're dealing with the image circle and the focal length being the same or really close to each other, like a 35 millimeter sensor and a 35 millimeter lens. Then magically the lens doesn't have to be huge. It's kind of odd. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I would say that it's probably obvious to think that every time that the light hits any one of the elements in the lens set, right, or in the group, it's going to lose a little bit of light, which also then means, how do we maximize the amount of light that goes through, whether it be 10 elements, 15 elements, 22 elements, and so on, and what kind of coding to allow us to focus the light to actually hit the sensor to get resolution. Where I'm going with it really is, the difference between, and this is something that I've been very controversial about every time I say it, but like there's a reason why Rokinon glass is Rokinon and everything else is not Rokinon. Because they make so many compromises to allow enough light to hit that sensor to where the same exact lens focal length may not match to the next one ever.
It's like if you don't wear glasses and you pick up somebody's glasses and you put it in front of your eyes, what that did right there was it changed your perfect vision to, it made it go outward or made it go inward. So you would need to correct that in order for that to happen. Now, if you put a pair of reading glasses, which, I do have a pair. So reading glasses are for old people like me, where it's just a slight change is all it is. If you put that up against your eye, it's going to slightly alter it. And all that is the amount of perfection off of your perfect vision, amount of alteration of that angle that it changes the light with the curve. I don't know if that made sense. Basically what I'm saying is if you don't build a perfect element, then it imparts some impurity into the next lens, which if it's not perfect, is going to impart some more and some more and some more, and you end up with soft glass. That's what's happening, is you're not perfectly focusing each section in your elements.
And they often refer that to the lens's ability to resolve at a certain resolution, whether it be
right.
This lens cannot resolve at 4K, or it can't resolve to 8K. It can resolve to 1080, but it can't resolve to whatever the higher thing is. And that, I don't know why I'm such a, I feel like I'm a harsh critic at that, but like if the lenses that I'm choosing can't resolve with what it is that I'm shooting, then I'm very quickly biased against them. And that opinion sometimes comes off as not nice.
Well, oops. You know what? It is what it is. Not a big deal. Let's see here. Let me see if I can blast through. Rotoscoping is easier to do blue screens than green? I haven't found that unless the subject is wearing a comparable color. A focus reducer? Yeah, we did that. Wow, gotta blow through these. Raver. Gregory, hey, happy Friday, Gregory. Gregory's like, I said that an hour ago. Derek, what's up, Greg? Greg, hi, Scott. Hey, Carlos. Gregory says hi. Cognition. India, how you do? Yeah, what's up, Dirk? Yep. Question for both. There we go. If you could only own one set of lenses, no matter the price, which one would it be? Ooh. Go, Carlos.
Airy Master Primes.
We'll make them short answers. I would say at this point, it would be the Tacchina Vistas for me, with an asterisk, and then I have not tested the new versions. So I like the Vista ones too, but those aren't quite available anymore. But yeah. Thanks for the cleanup. Yep, there we go. Let's see here. Scott, how many aperture I'm not ordering anything right now, King. I have to pare down and get to Alaska. Happy Friday, Sir Holland. I think bokeh screws it a bit. Interesting. The bokeh remains the same. I tend to think so. Let's see what he says. Bokeh is really determined by the individual lens design itself and the iris shape. You could design an identical lens for a full frame of Super 35 in that regard, but most lenses are indeed different. Phil going technical on us. That's only Phil could do. Maybe it's because I was using two speed boosters. A speed booster and a focal reducer. or the opposite. Well, you could say it virtually shrinks a bit. But James, hey, late to the party. Did I miss the core discount? Nope, NanoX. NanoX. I dropped the links in there. $199 for the 98s, $275 for the 150s. Now until midnight on Sunday. Film Tools, B&H Photo, Core, and then Dirk will do international over there. NanoX is the price, and the price won't be cheaper on Black Friday, but Gold Mount is only available on Balk Friday. It's not available on Black Friday. James says, thumbs up. Greg, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if it's possible, but I hope there's a bigger body of Fuji will allow to get more out of the sensor. Maybe I hope so too. Happy Friday, Mr. Avery. Where's Mr. Avery? I never saw Mr. Avery. He's down here. Great to see everyone here. Was he on here somewhere? Or maybe he's on Facebook and I'm not seeing these questions. Oh, that would suck. That would suck if they're doing that again. I'm even going to make sure that there's not a whole bunch of questions on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't even check Facebook.
Well, it's supposed to aggregate. That's the whole point. If you're gonna do something, you gotta do what you say. Oh man, that was not it. Comments manager, recommended comments. Okay, thank you. Sorry, 1 second. Just want to check the. This is today. Are there any comments? I can't tell. It's not telling me. I apologize. If you're on Facebook, why are you on Facebook? Get on YouTube. Let's see here. James, scroll backwards. Skywalker posted the 3 or 4 links above. Yep. James, the code is NanoX. NanoX. There we go. Cognition says yes, NanoX. And I believe it's all caps. I don't know for sure if they are case sensitive or not. Is there a coupon code for the cores? Yes, crazy. It is NanoX. And if you scroll up, there's links to the 4 places you can get them from. That's good. And from now until Sunday at midnight. For Europe, Balk Friday. That's right. We're celebrating Balk. Does anyone want any knowledge for the future? It's Saturday here. Let me know how many core batteries they sold, because are people going to have to wait for them? Oh, yeah, that was the other thing, is these batteries are all in stock right now. So by ordering on Balk Friday, you don't really have to wait. Let's see here. You're also for contributing to the community as you did. Yes, Dirk has been a very good member and supporter of the channel. We appreciate it. Eric says, by the way, is the annoying Daniel... wait. This is the annoying... Okay, my other YouTube got deleted. Please don't use copyrighted music, especially Dr. Dre. Yes, that is absolutely true, Eric. Do not use copyrighted music. Vistas look awesome. Don't look at the price. Yes, please don't look at the price. Although they are on sale, I think. Dirk. Ruben says, please explain why my logic is wrong. If the global sensors doesn't really have a shutter, it wouldn't affect the motion blur. No, that's not true. It's how fast the readout is based upon the amount of light that you let into it. The shutter still exists in front of it. So I can read the entire sensor at once. That is my global shutter. Now I can read the entire sensor at once, but I leave it open to the world for 1 second, and then I read it. That is 1 second. You got to think about a photosite, which is a pixel of a sensor. It's a bucket. And that bucket can collect rainwater, and rain is light. If I cover the bucket and I release it real quick and then I cover it back up, only a couple of drops are going to get in there. If I open that top, the lid, and the rain just keeps falling in there, then I fill up that bucket and then I close it, then there's more water, there's more light in there. So shutter and global shutter are 2 different things.
It's also worth saying that, like motion, nothing is in the exact same spot in time more than once. So
except for parallel universes.
Well, I'm not going to get into that with you because that is.
But you did in a parallel universe.
Yeah. So I'll say this: if we're talking about photography, yeah, we're capturing one still. Who cares, right? But for motion, it's either 24 frames, it's 30 frames, it's 60 frames, 50 frames if you're in Europe, or 120 frames. And no two frames are going to be identical if we are capturing motion.
Money is no object. Favorite lens for products?
So today, for me, I'm going to say the size Otis are probably my favorites.
Ooh, Otis is nice. That's a good call. I would throw Nisi Athenas or Sigmas. The Sigma Arts Primes. They are for products just sharp as cool. You build the house from wood and paper, Scott. Everyone can do that. Yes, this is true. Phil's video, it's just paint. Shot on red. Dina Theos wireless 2-channel kit and 3.5 millimeter Y splitter for the 2 outputs to a single on a PR2 recorder. Thoughts? Your audio level will be split in half. You'll have to boost your audio. I mean, it can be done. Yeah.
I can't talk about deity Theos.
Yeah, no, Carlos had to get rid of his Theos. I felt for you. I mean, I was like, ugh. I need to get a friend in Europe to send me a pre-authorized. I bet it would fail the first time I bring it into the app. But I'd like a pre-authorized the plug-on power, phantom power wireless transmitter. Awesome little kit James drew out. Of course, depends on what you're using it for. No, we would. 2 people. I'm thinking to have 1 wide, 1 on the speaker, and 1 to move between the guests. Yes, that's fine. I would be using all Blackmagic. Yep. I haven't decided on lenses though. Yeah, I mean, you need a master wide, you need a B, and then you need a constant or a roving. Make sure you have lab concealers or foams for it. I don't know what that is.
Maybe the deity thing?
Lav concealers. Okay. I was like, what are we talking about? Construction? What are we but how would you light the panel? Again, I would light the room, and that is you're lighting the panel. I would try to light it as far away from the center as possible. So for the sides, overhead, and kind of down is the best you could do. I mean, you're just trying to light a panel. You're not going to get, super cinematic lighting. So, I mean, what you'll find is a lot of overhead lights, softboxes just pointed straight down, or not straight down, but at like 45-degree angle. That's about what you'd expect.
And if you could get away with it, you could do a bunch of tube lights in more like a ring of fire, sort of like for a broadcast set around the panel, and that would kill a lot of the shadows.
Let's see here. Gregory laughing at jokes. How do you light a dark scene in a small room with a white wall? Oh boy, Ruben, I had this exact same question. I'm working on a video where I want a night scene, but I'm struggling to get a good look. I can't put light on the outside as well. Grids. Soft grids will be your friend. What you need to do is not allow the light to bounce. So on any wall that is not in frame, put up a black solid and keep the light from bouncing. Put grids on your light so that it can't disperse outward, and go from there.
It might be worth shooting plates too, just in case.
You could do that. That'd be interesting. Agree with Phil that the focus reducers cause the light gathering to increase, but Scott pointed out that the question is also affects the optic look. Frozen text is always good for like a paragraph. Equivalent to T28, Carlos was saying, and my old T4 zoom. Okay. In other words, Carlos continued. Okay. T4 the lens doesn't become faster in terms of shadow of the field. So I'll wait for a Phil question on that. Recently, I heard somewhere that if you want a dark scene in a white room, you actually need to go higher intensity on the light and bring it down in camera. Well, I mean, there's a point there where you're just changing ambience at that point. I'm not sure that helps. You just need to control the light. That's what. So a DP, a cinematographer, is about controlling the light. That doesn't mean adding lights. In many situations, it means removing lights and controlling lights and blocking lights. It's kind of what we do here. Oddly enough, I have extra lights on. I forgot to turn off. But yeah, this scene is lit specifically, minus, well, you can't see it, but it's over here. I have overhead lights on still. Oops. It's,
And that actually goes back to the whole, sometimes content on YouTube does not age well. But back when we were all trying to figure out how to make the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K work, the only way to get a good, clean, low light shot was to expose everything really well and then bring it down in post production.
well, that's true. I mean, you need you in that case you're putting NDs in front, and basically you're just brightening up the room where there's nothing in shadow, too much in shadow, so you don't get noise. That's for sure. Extra amount of light together per second is canceled out by the effect on the T-stop. I'll have to get an actual. That's a good question for what's his name on Facebook? The cinematography guy. The fabulous Mrs. Maisie DP. What's his name?
Oh man, I can't think of his name.
Oh yeah,
Why can't I
he
think of
is
his
like
name?
the super nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff, and that's probably a question we should ask. Would you stack these three filters: Hollywood Blackmagic, Polarizer, Filter, and ND? Polarizer first, outside, then ND, then Blackmagic is what I would do. How about you, Carlos?
Me too.
Me too. Carlos, when is the Arles review coming? Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not feeling the review?
Well, I mean, I know. I don't want to sell stuff on my channel anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I do hear you. The whole review market has changed, and it's changed in such a weird way because it kind of does this number, and right now I'm kind of in an extended down. I don't like it, and I don't like it for different reasons. 'Cause number one, I'm not reviewing anything that I don't personally like already. Or something that I don't have an extreme interest in, because I don't make negative reviews, but I don't like the pressure that is placed upon. Well, we would really like if you have this review out by this time. That's the only question or the only statement that they make is we want this review out in 3 weeks. They don't care what it is. They don't try to, because I don't allow any of that. But even that 3 weeks. I mean, Starship comes, and I've got to go shoot for Starship. Well, guess what? That's 4 days out of my life to go down there and do that, and I'm going to go do that. And I can't get something out on time if I'm going to go do that, because the smile on my face when I was shooting, what was that? The smile on my face makes me know when I was shooting that. Was incredible. And when I got home, I even told my wife, I said, that right there is what makes me happy. That is, I mean, that is cool to me. And is also the stuff that I like, shooting wildlife. I love doing that. And then this other one right here. Boop. That is too cool for school. And that's what I want to do. And so I don't mind doing reviews, but I have to be happy. And so shooting wildlife, Alaska, shooting rockets now, Texas, good luck finding that happy medium. Yeah, it's a tough one.
How much ND did you use on that last rocket shot?
So I went with a really high T-stop so that I would make sure it's at least as in focus as I can possibly get it. And I still was bad. I was on 4 stops of ND, I believe, on the V-Raptor. So there's 8 cameras in there, and I was going to go through all those, but we're blasting out of time here, so I'll have to do that another day. Yeah, it was. Some of them I just shot it at like T64. I just wanted the shot.
Whoa.
I just wanted it to be in focus, and because I can only control one camera. Well, now, but soon. I did for Mr. Balt. I haven't really thought about it. Okay, yeah, you should think about that.
Scott, if they were all reds, you could actually use the
It's true.
red control.
but they're all pointed straight, and I couldn't move
Oh,
them. And so now,
Yeah.
now I'm looking at, because I had this, and this works quite well for smaller cameras and lenses. When I put telephotos on it and I lean it back, all of a sudden this one leans back, and then this one goes, no matter how tight I make it, it goes at a different angle. And I was not going to play that game. So I need basically a way to set up a bunch of cameras side by side on my O'Connor that are all pointed at the exact same place. And then I can have 3 different epic shots of each. That would be cool.
Rumen, that was a very sarcastic video. I would probably not expect more than a lot of sarcasm.
What is it? Follow Carlos. We be selling Komodo for Pixels. Yeah, Carlos does do sarcasm a lot. He likes to play that one and just see how it plays, because people are like, "Oh my God, this is so mad." Would this be correct to order polarizer ND closest polarizer filter, then ND, and then closest glass? That's the one I would choose, Baracho. Okay, Jacob says, highly debatable topic coming from illustration. Norman Rockwell had a thing or two to say about what an artist was, and just some food for thought. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the links, Gregory.
Maybe you should post the links again, Scott, just for those people.
You think? Probably as it get close to the end here, just so everybody can just find it. And it should be stated that it is perfectly okay to not be an artist. There are lots of reasons why I would hire an artist over someone who is more business. Well, this is true. There's a time and a place for each. I would say that there's a distinction between the average. Oh man, I'm so behind. Let me just blow through these. I'm just thinking about these comments. Pragmatism is concerned with financial. Yeah. Let's see. At the end of the day, when an artist is retrofitted to fit everyone, I had to read that in a pompous voice, it causes a lot of issues in communication, to be sure. As for artistry as a form of creation, oh my God, I'm so behind. To feel something, and I'm having to highlight these. I got a new little portable flat monitor that I put in my teleprompter so I get bigger words, and it's still not big enough.
Yeah, now you're never going to invite me again because I'm like making you fall way behind.
Nah, it's fine. I'll just get to them all, and we just won't talk for the next 10 minutes. We'll just be reading comments. You'll be like, I'm never coming on there again. He won't talk to me. Carlos saw your helium video. How did you enjoy the sound coming out of your production module compared to the Mix Pre?
I loved it. It was perfect. It was the best replacement.
Comments about artistry versus expression. Just read The Man Who Was Thursday. Great books on over. Okay, cool. Hey, Tommy Chase. Tommy was there. Happy Friday, Scott. Hi, Tommy. Tommy was sitting right next to me, or standing right next to me at the rocket launch, and it was a blast. Yeah, I did that. I went there. It was awesome. Is there a coupon code for the quarter? Is crazy. It's NanoX. It's NanoX. There we go. We got everybody joining in on the fun. It's fun. Scott, does the Balk Friday include core accessory? It does not. I'll see what we can do in the future about something. It depends on how successful this one will be. I mean, because like I said, I'm not getting anything from this. It's all about Core. Is Core getting anything from this? So if Core gets something from this, then I imagine we could come up with some Balk Wednesdays, or some randoms, and maybe some Carlos Tuesdays.
It might not be a bad idea to consider that if you guys need batteries, pick up some batteries and use them as a tax write-off, since we're basically at year end.
Yep, this is truth. This is truth. Question for you: how come Red was sold for just 85 million? It's mind-boggling because there's more to Red than just cameras, and you got to understand. Red, there was studios, there was real estate, there was a whole lot of stuff that was Red, and they
the
only
NASA
sold.
contracts.
Oh yeah, yeah. They sold just the camera division of
Yeah.
it, and what I mean, I agree. When I heard the price, I was like, "Wow, that seems awful low." But now flip that around. Everybody agrees that that seems awful low. Now think about it was so low, and think about what Red was able to do with that little valuation. What we all thought was $250 million company, and they were able to do all of this for 85 million. Kind of a thing. Buy NanoX in bulk. I like it.
I like that.
Thank you. I feel the pain of Firecrest. Syntax says the logic is more like Carlos as you get stuff for. Okay, yeah, that's that one. Sorry, I don't mean to blow through your feral syntax. I gotta get through these real quick here so we can end this before tomorrow. Global should have got you. Anybody think that the fact that maybe it's harder to make everything black at once rather than capturing the entire sensor? No, I don't think so. You can choose to not expose. There is such a thing as zero shutter. Opinions on Red's value being 85 million just somehow just doesn't compute. Yeah, I just explained that one. Okay. Is the DJI follow focus LiDAR system actually good? It is. The LiDAR system is good. The controller for First AC, I did not like at all, and I returned it, and thus I didn't make a review on it. Got 150s. Thanks for the code. Thank you for supporting Core. They will appreciate it. Who'd you order from? Crazy Curious. Let's see. I didn't get Carlos' comments about shooting plates for the dark scene.
Basically, treat it like a VFX shot, right? So you shoot the plates, then you shoot your scene, and then you mask around what you need to mask.
Yeah, just have a little bit of a soft roll off on it so that you could match it to the scene. I confused Scott for Santa. Well, I mean, that's what I'm here for. Ho, ho, ho. My comments are increasing with light sensitivity. Jacob says, the arts get infiltrated by people who love to shock due to American media playing it up. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if it bleeds, it leads. That's an American thing for sure. When should you buy an IR filter?
When you own a Komodo, OG Komodo.
when you have IR hitting your sensor.
Yeah.
when you own various cameras, but basically when your image has brown, muddy shadows, that is your key to, I should have had a V8.
And that really only happens on Sony, Canon that I've experienced.
Blackmagic.
Panasonic, Blackmagic,
Yeah.
and the OG Komodo.
Yeah, OG. And yeah, DSMC2 had much better OLPFs for that. A product review from Carlos or Scott, I trust. Other channels that scoops up is that they're selling. I mean, I appreciate that. I wouldn't discount other people so much. There are some good-hearted people doing the right things out there that just don't seem like it. But then there's also some pure shells out there. The Starship video is awesome. Thank you, Gregory. I appreciate that.
It is awesome, by the way, Scott.
Thank you. It's so much fun, dude. You feel it in your chest when it hits. It's like, it feels like you ate Taco Bell like 45 minutes later. It's incredible.
Why do I know that feeling?
Everybody knows that feeling. That's my old running joke. It's like, let's have a contest. You eat 2 burrito supremes and you wait 47 minutes. And let the fun begin. For every giver gives 2 to 3. It's tough because sometimes you don't feel that at that moment. Like Gregory's his lens cuff. When I first got it, I was using it, but I didn't feel it. And a little bit later, I felt it. And once I felt it, it just totally made sense. and it was a completely different animal in my brain. It always made sense before, but it didn't. It wasn't a, oh, I need to use that now. And now I know exactly when to grab it. It's perfect for that. That's a shout out to Lens Cuff. Balk Fridays coming some Friday in the future, I'm assuming. You didn't have to use. You didn't. She did not go. I begged and pleaded. She was getting her passport. That she was bound and determined to get her passport. So I got you.
Wait,
Daniel's
you
telling
operated
yo,
all
hello.
those cameras, Scott?
I did
On
it
your own?
all myself, every single bit. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. No, it's all good. Once the first 30 seconds are done, we can cuss all we want. Mr. Stilling, I still need to have you on. I apologize for not getting back to you, but yes, we do need to get you on. You are a way better person than I am, and I apologize for that. Guys, I've heard the great deal for the Core NanoX's batteries. Is there a code NanoX? It is Roman NanoX, available from Film Tools, B&H Photo, Core, and from what's the name of his company, Dirk? Am I going to pronounce it right? Hydra Distribution. Boom. NanoX 98s in gold or V mount, 199. 150s, gold or V mount, 275. That is one heck of a deal. Black Friday will not be cheaper. And on Black Friday, you can't get the gold mount. So if you're gold mount, today's the day. Today is your day to get it. Absolutely. Crazy says, by the way, the batteries come at 276.5. Well, okay. Close. I'm getting at least 4 of these cores, unfortunately, for hobbyists that can't do the tax write-off. Well, start a business, and here's what you do. Create a YouTube channel and post it to YouTube, and now you are a business. Now you can write it off. It's the truth. It is a business as long as you treat it like a business. If you treat it like filming birthday parties, then no, it's not. Film Tools. Cool. I would love something like a Komodo's form factor, but make the colors and sharpness and low light like a Monstro. Well, you'll just have to wait for the next. Never mind. Let's see here.
That might be coming.
DJI Focus hand control unit rivals the best in sucking power. Oh, thank you, Gregory. I was like, where are you going with this? But some neat features, yes. Yes, it feels like a Play School My First Focus controller is what it feels like to me. It's so plasticky and cheap feeling. I don't understand how they're getting $1,000 for that. Yeah. Question for Carlos: did he had a chance to watch some of the Blackmagic 12K footage? The rolling shutter. He probably sent you. It's interesting. There's some good images coming out of there at 4K. Have you had the chance to review the Samara C-Class? I have not. Have you?
Mm-mm.
I don't think you have. Scott, I can use a few of your SpaceX shots for a video by Bulgarian channel, science themed. Possibly. Reach out. Let's figure out what you want.
So the problem for me with lenses is that if they make it into my studio, then they will never leave.
It's true.
So I'm very picky.
How did you like the Canon C400?
I canceled my C400 pre-order.
Well, there you go. Oh, wow, we're at the end too. That's awesome. I liked what I saw at Film Tools when I got to play with it for a little bit. I have not done a full in-depth review or play with it. I haven't had the opportunity or the time, so that's that. But it did look interesting for sure. Is Scotty an octopus? Maybe that's how you handle all that. I got your joke when you posted that. I posted the image and somebody brought that up. Octopus. It's pretty funny. I can't believe you
Somebody
guys
needs to put that into Mid-Journey. Scott with
A12.
8 arms.
That's all you got to do is just put Scott. It'll put 8 arms. Okay, Nikon threw hands at slashing the KX prices right before. Yeah, that was a very ninja move for sure.
Okay,
The
so I
KX
need
prices.
to say, I'm gonna say something that cannot be verified because there's plausible deniability behind what I'm about to say, but that was supposed to be the original price of KX when KX was developed,
I
according
don't
to
doubt that.
the one person who could confirm that can't now.
Yeah, that I would not doubt that at all.
I
I
mean,
was
talking about
just
disruptive.
you're the one that had like all the inside knowledge of it. I had no idea freaking X existed, and it's just like boom, right out of the blue. It's like I had to scramble to sell everything to buy. Just perplexed. Yeah, it was a ninja move. It was ninja. It was, Carlos was such a big fan of the C70. I jumped to Canon watching some of his videos. It seems like he hated the Z400.
It isn't that I hate it. It's just that, here's the thing, and this is a first world problem. There isn't anything better than this in the world to me and what I do today, which really means everything gets judged against this.
Yeah, well, way to set the bar there, Carlos. Red.
I mean, that's my problem. Like, again, that's really my issue. Why would I buy something? I still own a C70. In fact, the C70 worked 3 or 4 days this week. But if I'm gonna buy something new, it needs to do something that I can't already do.
Welcome to the end of times comments. Scott, we've been waiting for you. Getting at the end of comments. All right. All right, let's put 5 seconds on the clock. 5 seconds. 5 minutes on the clock. Everybody's got some last minute questions. Throw them out there. I know Carlos's time is valuable. And I'm sure right now he has told Bert, we don't get to go out to dinner tonight. We're doing this live stream. And she's over there just waiting to go to dinner. She wants that dinner.
I think she's ordering pizza.
Oh, I'm having pizza too.
Yeah, we can't. So, normally we would try to do it up on the grill in the backyard or whatever, but we got 3 inches of snow, so that's done for the season.
There you go. There's I guess I could do these. Let's see. So these are my social media posts that I just got are clipped. These are all the very shots. So this was such a. I was expecting the catch, and when they said they weren't going to catch it, I was like, "Where's it going to go?" And I'm like, "Oh God, it's going to go straight over there." That is a hat, a brim of a hat on the top left-hand corner, and a telephone pole. There's a crowd right below that. I lost it in the crowd, and then I just popped my camera down as far as I could go and just waited for it. That's how I caught it. There's when I've actually found focus. That was cool though, because you could actually see the engines. The bay was just hot from all the heat. And there's the hot sep.
Oh, dude, I love that shot.
It's so cool. And then there's going up. I mean, it is. Is that not? Oh, it does. Look at that. Look at that thing. Oh, it's so cool.
That is cool.
I like that.
That's cool.
That was, if you watch the video, it's all shaky. There's nothing I could do about it because I was trying to get my glasses on because I couldn't focus. It was so small. This is my favorite shot right here. It's just so detailed.
Make sure you tag Elon. Of course, you know this, but
I've tagged Elon. He does not see my post, but and the vapor coming off of this one is just awesome.
damn.
Let's see here. Then the birds.
Yeah.
Dude, those birds were like flying, and then all of a sudden they just go, ah! Probably when the chest thumping pounding just happened, because I mean it's wild. I was going to go through all the different shots, and see this shot right here was actually it was the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K with anamorphic, but good luck on showing anamorphic on vertical. No, I just cropped it just for the social media post. I mean, at that point, it was a cool shot, but it seemed really silly to have an anamorphic shot in the main shot and everything else not be. So I just like zoomed in on it a little bit. Let's see here.
Could you feel the concussion hitting you when
Dude,
it's taken off?
I'm not kidding. When it hits, And it's weird too because you hear the water. So they do the deluge that happens, and you kind of hear that. So if you watch my video and turn up the volume, that is literally what it was like, because you kind of hear it kind of roar slowly, and then all of a sudden it just, and that is when they light all the engines. The difference is, and I will go and I will put like my iPhone video, because I put the iPhone on top of the V-Raptor and I was tracking it, but you can hear like 10 seconds later, I go, oh, here comes the audio. Like people know what audio is. And they're all like, what? And then all of a sudden you hear, because we couldn't hear it. I mean, it's like 10 seconds. We're 5 miles away.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, it's wild. Let's see here. Let's see. Go through these. Well said. Well said. Is that a CT5 microphone on the Raptor X? What do you got there?
It's the Sheps Cement. Yeah.
Ooh, Sheps. Gotta love Sheps. Is that the grape juice or apple juice? Mine is an aged grape juice. 1 in the chat for grape juice. 2 in the chat for... Did you try Bulgarian? I did not yet, but I did look it up. And I'm interested in trying it. Last question, promise. How do you configure the audio on the camera preamp? What camera? But what I would tell you is pull the audio levels all the way down on your camera and use a good quality preamp on the outside and push the level up. Use a better quality preamp than what's in there. If you have Komodo X, it's a different animal. You shouldn't hear hissing. Or V-Raptor X.
Or
Those both have the
V-Raptor X,
good.
yep.
Yep. Brandon, read Matt Box worth the price, or is there a better value? Is Matt Box something you shouldn't compromise on? You might once, you cry once. And Bonacho, I have the Misfit Kick over here that I'm doing a review on. I will let the cat out of the bag. I'm going ahead and buying this one. They're not giving it to me. I'm buying it because I love it so much. The Misfit Kick 2. It's incredible.
It's
and
probably the most
worth
versatile Matt Box on the market for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely versatile. And it's really worth the price. And you buy it once and you cry once and you're good. We need some Carlos and Scott games during these. We're working on that. We're working on that, King. We're working on that. I talked to Brandon and Jarrell for Brandon Washington's channel, and we're going to put together a once a month-ish, maybe, live with a bunch of us. And we're streaming to our own channels while participating on each other's all at the same time. So games will be involved. It'll be fun. So flipping cool. Yep. Epic AF. Yes, autofocus was amazing. No, I'm just kidding. Did the rocket hit the dome? No.
On the way down, maybe? Nope.
I don't know what that means. It hit the water, but it landed nicely. Thank you, Mr. Carlos, for a very entertaining show. Future, you told me there was over 75 core nanos sold under the Balk Friday NanoX this week. I hope so. I mean, I would like to hear 200 because that means that they'll come back next Balk Wednesday and say, let's offer the cool new core snaps. Those are kind of cool because I was using those on my Blackmagic.
Will those communicate battery information to the red?
No, because they go into the power plug.
Oh, okay.
What lenses did you use for the Starship shoot? Oh, a whole bunch. And I had them all sitting over here. I used the Canon 100 to 150. I used the Sigma 100. I used the Canon 70 to 200 with a 2x extender on it. I used the Nanomore 50 to 100 at 100 millimeters. I used the 24 to 70 Nikon at 70. I used Osmo Pocket 3 at Osmo Pocket 3. and I used the action. You can see the Osmo action I had on my chest. And I had the iPhone at 5x.
Did you go auto white balance, Scott, or did you custom white balance?
5500 across the board. Everybody gets a 5500. You get a 5500. You get a 5500. Everybody gets a 5500. What do you think of the Condor Blue matte box? It's nice. I like Condor Blue. They're a good company. It's it is an affordable option out there, but like I say, buy once, cry once. No flat Earth filament. Oh, I got you. That's why I didn't follow you. Got the joke. There we go. All right. I thought you had to wait until you're a YouTube partner. 1K subs or whatever classification before turning your. Just because you're not making money at it yet doesn't mean that you're not trying to make money. Guess what? When you start a business, you're not making money the first day. You're costing money. It's still a business. Scott, we concentrate too much on the science and the art of the image acquisition and sometimes not pay enough attention to the possibilities experiencing.
Sometimes, though, Scott, to that comment is probably, it's just one of those muscle memory things, though, right? Like when you step on set, you know that, okay, these are the 10 or 15 things I'm going to check to make sure that I'm ready to shoot. And then you begin to focus on the creativity. It isn't so much like, oh, what is my white balance? Like, you know that that's a thing that you're doing.
It's true. It's true. We should relatively have experience. Could you comment on the recent advancement in projectors that you're aware of? There are no real recent things on projection. What I'm hearing now is LED screens, LED walls are potentially the next big thing for cinema. We'll see.
I mean, $6,000 and you can get like a 200-inch LED volume. Yep. That's not bad.
I hear that that Mr. Land in his office at Red Studios upgraded when he sold Red. He upgraded to an 8K LED wall for his cinema screen, and I hear it's incredible. I gotta go check it out. Just gonna.
We should rent this, Scott, you and I, and just go and do a live there.
I wanna go review his parking lot. I told him, I said, I'm going to go out there and just review your parking lot. And he's like, wait till it's finished. All right, Carlos, you got anything you want to add? I got to pee, but,
I just want to say thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Obviously, the community, you all are rock stars. And Scott, thank you for giving back so much to all of us, which, it's greatly appreciated. So
I say the same to you. It's like you're a excellent contributor, creative artist, as much as you don't want to say it, to the community, and you give a different look, and everybody needs to see and hear different looks. You can't just take one, and it's so good that you take your time and share back to the community, and we all appreciate it. And I watch your stuff, and I know everybody else here is about to subscribe if they haven't already. Most of them probably already have, and we appreciate you as well.
Thank you, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, great Thanksgiving week coming up.
Yes, if you're American, if not, just enjoy Balk Friday.
Yeah, don't forget, pick them up.
Pick them up. Yep, consume all things in bulk. All right, I will drop you out of here if you want to say goodbye to everybody.
Peace. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. See you later.
All right, thanks. And so oops, that went blue. So everyone, thank you so much. Remember, $199, $275, code NanoX through midnight on Sunday. Film Tools, the link's there. B&H Photo, Core, and through I'm sorry, Dirk. Hydra Agency. In Netherlands? In Europe. So you can get that amazing deal from them. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Eat something enjoyable. Spend some time with some family. Have a great weekend. Remember to subscribe and use those affiliate links down below just for anything and everything. Give friends. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions. Bye, everyone. Thanks.